Okay, call the meeting to order. We'll start out the public hearing for the budget. The budget is due at the county when October is?
October 2nd.
Okay. Since I wasn't at the last meeting, the copy that I was sent, is that the same as what we discussed at the last meeting? This was sent to me beginning of August.
No, there's been a few adjustments at the last meeting.
Okay, I have no idea what those are then.
They're on the email.
What?
They're in the email.
I have an email. I haven't gotten any emails.
You have an email address for the city though,
No, I have my own email address.
but the one you're used for the city is the city email.
I don't sense
I
that.
was never asked about that or anything, so. No, I have an email address, so. Anyway,
I'm sorry, Larry, with respect, you asked me not to use that email anymore, and so
Well,
at
no,
at the discretion of
Why
the
don't-
rest of
That's
the
not
commission.
exactly-
Why don't we get to what everyone's here for and,
Absolutely, I agree.
and get to the budget? And I think what everybody's here for, a lot of people are here for, is they saw the 29% increase of the budget. And I think with just a few adjustments that I think we will agree on for the most part, we can get that down to pretty much zero.
Can we explain the 29%
Sure.
part of it? So, for the 29% increase notice that is in the newspaper, that is mandated by Century Code, that is an increase in the number of mills. It's not a straight across-the-board increase in your taxes. So, the formula that we use through the Century Code, it's a calculation of zero increased number of mills. It takes into consideration the taxable valuation from 2016 and then again for the estimated 2017. It minuses out the new growth in the district, and then that gives us a taxable valuation excluding the new growth. The 2016 mill levy was 57.77. And so then through calculating all those numbers, it gives me a number that tells me what the city has to have in mills in order to have a zero mill increase. So this year, based off of those numbers, our zero increased number of mills would have been 56.16. The proposed 2017 budget for the mill levy is at 70.48. And so that was an increase of 25.49%. At the time that the notice was sent out, I was missing the number for the minus the new growth, and so the 29% was put in the paper just to make sure that we had that number out there for residents. So the 25% increase is in the 12 extra mills that the city has proposed in the budget. So,
So we have to come up, we'd have to come up with $63,000 to even it out from last year, so our taxes wouldn't go up. So that's what we'd be looking at tonight. And I guess a couple things that I thought, if that's okay if I go on, is if we looked at the memorial building roof, the memorial building has to be re-roofed. But we do have a couple options, I think, of possibly doing it. We could probably use sales and use tax or some surge funding.
We have leftover money from that surge fund, you know, because I think we had put away, what, 400,000 for that chip seal project, and then that price came in at, what, 165 or something, or,
Yeah.
you know, with engineering, something like that.
And then right there, that's 40,000 out of the 63,000.
Right.
Another thing is I don't think we need to spend $10,000 on a new sign.
No.
What was that, a new what?
A new sign,
Okay.
you know, so. And then another thing would be, the park board gets 25 mills already, plus every year we give them $25,000.
I was thinking.
So I don't know if we need to do that as well. And then another thing that could be brought up is the memorial, or not, the old courthouse. You know, right now, we're giving them 15,000 to fix it up, and maybe since we're doing these other things, we could cut part of that as well. So that would be over the 63,000 that we would need to balance it out. And then if anybody wants to repeat that for Kip.
You know, also, I mean, you know, we had recently transferred funds, you know, from these other accounts. I mean, well, you know, there was like 57,000 in the, I think it was in the Social Security account. So, I mean, I don't know if you're tracking that separate in the general account.
No. Well, I mean, it is, yes, but
You know.
the amount and the revenue and the cash on hand and all of that, all of those funds are already taken into account.
But the Memorial Hall does need, the roof does need to be redone, because matter of fact, I was in there the other day, and it's actually leaking.
Where at?
On the sides. Inside, but on the sides. You know, so right above the bathroom kind of. And then if you look up at the shingles, they're in pretty tough shape. So that's one thing that we need to take care of.
At the preliminary budget, when I wasn't here, you guys had put $10,000 into the fire truck
And then we just got a new fire truck.
savings fund. So, I did take the air conditioner furnace, I had $5,000 for air conditioner furnace for City Hall. So I had zeroed that out, and I was able to nurse that along for another year. And then I had also decreased the repair, maintenance, and services of buildings and grounds, general buildings and grounds by $5,000. And that should be noted on.
So do we need to make motions when we want to take these things out? Or can we just, how do we do that?
We can go through it, and then at the end, you guys make a motion to.
Okay, once we do
Mhm.
it. Okay.
Is there any comments from the residents on the budget, 29%? Does that seem like we're coming up with some answers? Yes, Ray?
The only comment I have is for the general public to understand, everybody here is interested in how many meals you're gonna go up and how much is that gonna cost on a $200,000, $300,000, $50,000 home. You know, so, I guess I would like to see when you get all done, you can say the mills are going up four mills. Then I can figure out what it's gonna cost me very easily.
Hopefully it'll be zero.
Zero extra.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the plan, it would essentially be zero.
So the
Oh,
notice in
all
the
right.
paper was that at the time,
Preliminary.
was that you were looking at a 29% increase, but you're working on it now so that that would be a 0%
Right,
increase
right.
is what you're saying?
And every year that happens.
Okay,
Yeah.
So-
If the city did need money, has it been thought of to up city sales tax at all, so we don't
Yeah.
have to cut things that we need to? Has that ever been brought up?
Well, I don't think that we're cutting anything that's an
But I
absolute
mean, like
necessity.
building funds and maintenance and things like that.
I mean, we already have a 2-cent city sales tax already.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, how far does a person there go? Really, I don't know. How many years left on that sweeper payment?
This is the last year.
So if I understand right, basically what you're saying is you put that in the paper, but you were jumping the gun on it.
No, we have to do a preliminary budget first, and we look at the things that we think we might need, or just like any business would do, and then we have to, after we do the preliminary budget, then we have another meeting like we're having here, and then we need to make sure we do a final budget.
The notice in the paper is mandated by state
Yeah.
century code.
Yeah,
after the preliminary budget is
Yes,
done? Okay.
yes.
and that's the highest we could go. You know, and then, but then it could always be lower, and it usually is.
And of course, it's not the intent to have a false alarm, but
Right.
that's what we have to do, and then to have resident involvement in that process is pretty important, because we're representatives for Washburn. Of course, we wanna do the right thing, so your concerns are our concerns, and we'll just adjust before we get to the final.
Well, who decided on the road work going on out here?
That's been done years ago, a couple years ago, right?
I just wanna know who's getting a kickback off of it, because it seems like to me, all the houses in prices are going up. Because, you know, I moved up here 3 years ago, and I can't even buy a house up here, because I can't afford it. I don't work at the mines, I work in Bismarck, I have to go 42 miles one way each day just to make a living.
Yeah.
Instead, I have to sit here and rent and have my landlord go up on my rent and everything else. You know, it's wrong. Y'all sit there and say it's right, but it's wrong.
Well, we all have to pay it. I'm paying it, everybody at this table's paying it.
I think,
To be honest with you, I have a $27,000 special payment.
why is everybody's
No
different?
kickbacks.
Why is everybody's different? You got one guy paying 9,000, you got one guy paying 16,000, you got one guy paying
It's where-
33,000, and you just told me you're paying 27,000.
With all three things, yeah.
That's
It's where you're located and also the size of your lot.
It's still not.
Why does it matter where you're located?
Well, whether you're primary or secondary.
Are we talking
Yeah.
special assessments or the budget?
Yeah, let's do the budget.
Yeah, that's a different topic.
I was also gonna ask about, this allowance for delinquent tax collections, on Schedule B. And do we need that? I mean, I don't think we had that last year.
You did take it out last year, but, it is.
We had it in there, or we took it out of the budget last year.
You took it out. Yep, but it is, recommended,
Do we have problems with, delinquent tax?
yes. Mhm.
Okay.
So are we good with taking out the sign?
I'm good with the sign and the roof, but I think there's other ways to fund that.
The roof completely?
Probably.
And the park board?
I'd really like to see the park board's budget. You know, it's really hard to,
Well, they've already got 25 mils,
okay?
plus $25,000.
Last year they took 25.38 mils.
So I think maybe we should at least cut that in half.
That would be 62.5 then. What's our final price, Joel?
No, like I said, without seeing their budget, it's really hard for the city. But that was one of the things I have down here, was, park board. So anyway, what are we looking at if we do that? We got, so 40 and 10, that's 50, and then if we do half of theirs, we do 12.5.
62.5.
62.5, is that,
And then give me 5 out of the tank order.
Yeah, obviously it needs some work. We can do something with the 10,000 for
so we'll take 5 out of there, so now
And you're
we're sitting
leaving the
at.
fire truck?
Oh, and then we have a fire truck. Can we use the fire truck fund still? Right away?
That's a good question.
The biggest problem with the budget this year is that all of our state funding has decreased tremendously. So as you guys can see off of the revenues, the state funding is almost non-existent. So that's where, a lot of the additional money that we had in the past, that revenue is no longer there.
Why did that happen? How come, what caused that to happen?
The oil prices dropped.
Oil price, yeah, okay, that's what I figured.
That's
Your
statewide.
reference inside the budget document, that intergovernmental revenue, is that where you're bringing
It
those?
says state aid,
numbers from?
full severance, coal.
Yeah, it's got the oil and gas and
Yep.
full severance, coal
Correct.
conversion.
Yep,
All those are down
yes,
across the board,
Yep.
not just oil, but coal also.
yes, all of them. All of this, those all come from
They
the
might even
state.
go lower next year, you don't know.
And that's what I was wondering too, you know, that, I hate to see things cut too bad too, like you cut the park board, you cut this, and that's what I was asking about other options for any.
Oh, yeah.
Cause that's, you know, it's nice to have them things in our community as well.
Yeah. And I think with the park board, you know, that 25,000 that usually the park board, that's kind of their cushion, you know?
Oh, okay.
They're getting 25 mills already, which is a pretty good chunk of change for them.
What does it cost to operate the pool?
Oh, it's,
A lot.
I mean, is that where most of that 25,000 is going?
Well, see, that's.
It's only open 4 months out of the year.
I'd venture to say a lot of it goes there.
Oh, yeah. Heat and chemical probably eats all that up.
Okay.
Breakdowns this year on
Repairs all the
repairs,
time.
the heating part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got one question regarding those intergovernmental relief, the revenue fund streams.
Yes.
That aid distribution one is also down from 2016. What is that all consist of? What is the funding there? Is that gonna be across the board? Because if you didn't notice, everybody got a county notice also.
Oh, yeah.
That those taxes are looking to go up. Is that all related to revenue more so than expenditure, or a combination of both? Or-
For the state.
for
aid.
us, it's probably revenue.
Mhm. I think if the revenue's not coming in, it directly relates.
But what is
to-
the formulation for that state aid distribution? You have to know that.
I do not know. It comes from the state. We have we get the notifications, every month as to what is coming into the account. And it's their income and what they have.
So fire truck, what are you thinking there?
Well, how about if, being the portfolio owner of buildings and grounds, I think we should keep some money in on the memorial roof in case we do need to patch at minimum.
Well, I think our plan is we're going to fix it. We could go sales and use, research fund, those type of things.
I want to point out though that I did take 5,000 out of the general building grounds also already that generally goes to the memorial building. So if you would want to put 5,000 back in for things that might be good. It seems like right now we're replacing a lot of toilets, just old things in the building that have problems, kind of a safety net for that building. There's also still some excess flooding into the basement. Not excess, I guess flooding is fine.
Yeah, along that wall, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna cut the park board by half by rates, we should look at the fire fund at least. Do we have any representatives from the fire hall? Cause that new vehicle was just purchased, is that correct?
Yeah.
So that money is just to pad the coffers for the next.
Correct.
So I would say, yeah, we definitely should at least go half. on
Cause that's paid for, right? That fire truck was paid for.
We cut like the fire truck in half, or the fire equipment in half, so make that at 5,000. How about, you wanna do park board in half, or just give them 15? Like I said, without their budget, it's so hard to know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I talked to one of the board members and either way, 12, 5 or 15.
They were fine with that?
One
I
of
mean,
them.
They thought they could
Yeah.
be okay with
They've got a
that?
cushion.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go 12.5 then. That work?
this a brand new fire truck or is it a used one?
They-
Brand new.
got a new one.
And that was my question too, how much would the fire department not getting then? How much are you cutting?
5,000.
5,000.
Why are we cutting
This is for
5,000
future-
for
I
public
understand.
service?
Right, I was a member in another town for 20
Okay,
years, that's
sure.
why I'm asking this question.
It's for a fund for a future fire truck
Yeah.
after this new one.
I know the town that I used to live in before in North Dakota, what we did is we went to 0.5% for 3 or 4 years for emergency vehicles. And at the end, that came off and then 3 or 4 here for taxes.
So I think we're probably at our point.
So, am I correct here that, half for the park board? So that, saves us $5,000.
I'm at
Or, I'm
seven.
sorry, is it 12,500? Sorry.
I'm at 72,500.
725.
And then, then 5,000.
And how much are you taking away from the Memorial Hall?
We're just not going to pay for the roof, but we are still going to do the roof.
Right.
So,
How much was the roof?
40,000.
40,000.
Were you gonna put a
It was
little
an
bit back
estimate
in
last
repair
year.
maintenance at all?
It's $40,000 that you have.
What's our final number that we were looking at, 63?
64,726.
Okay.
Did you get to one for,
72.5.
We're at 72.5 right now, and that's
Okay.
with the additional 5,000 that I had taken out of the repair and maintenance of the buildings and grounds.
oh, okay, I see, add that on too, okay, got it, okay, I didn't.
Maybe
add
just
that.
even 2,500 to go back on to
How much do we have in there?
5,000.
That's, it was at 10, you took 5 out, so now it's at 5, is that what?
Correct. Mhm. And that's not all, it's not just the memorial
Right.
building, it's also general maintenance.
Right.
I would
We
say
have
res-
buildings, so
restore that 5,000.
We could do that.
And then the difference, maybe we could put back into the emergency vehicle for fire hall. I mean, to get to a 0%.
Say that again.
Restore the buildings
Yeah.
and grounds, 5,000,
Yeah.
and then the difference between our overage on cuts today, put that back
That'd be
onto the
about
fire vehicle.
4,500 would go back, so they get 9,500. Fire truck, fire would still.
9,500?
Or park board, I guess, either or, split the difference.
Split it out.
Yep, go half on each.
Hey Keith, I just got a text from Shriner that told me in 2015 the operating cost of the pool was $82,000. It goes up and down from year to year depending on if they need repairs.
And they had to put a big pump in last year, right?
That's not really operating costs, if you do repairs, that's a
Yeah.
little different.
I think sometimes they go to sales and use and get some of that.
Yeah.
It all depends if you have closed toilets and all that stuff down there in pipes.
I know that big heater's in tough shape on the pool.
That was replaced though, not that long ago, wasn't it?
I know they were working on it this summer several times.
Yeah.
They were fighting it. It would die and the guy from Bismarck would have to come and
Yeah, maybe it has been a while since we replaced that.
temporarily fix it to get it rolling.
Right.
So are we good with all that?
So let's summarize this again now. Yeah.
Oh. 40,000 off of the memorial building.
Yeah,
Then we had 10,000 off of the sign.
yeah.
And what did we have for the other three?
Well, that's why I'm confused. You guys kind of
Yeah,
lost me.
5,000 off of the old courthouse.
5,000.
What is the old courthouse?
The green.
That's the old courthouse.
Oh, the old,
downtown.
okay, got it.
The museum.
Yeah. There's still $10,000 going towards that for
Right.
fixing it up.
Um,
Fire,
Fire.
9,500 is it? Or what is that?
Well, I've got I didn't know how much you guys were giving to the fire truck.
We're gonna split that last 4,500 between the fire truck and
So
Park
20
board.
So 2250 apiece.
Okay, so the park board would get 14,550.
Okay.
They would, that's how much they would get? 14 what?
14,550. Park board. And the fire would get, instead of 10. Yes, 7,200, 7,250, 7,250.
So that's 67,600? 67,700?
Okay.
I have 68,300. So the final, just for clarification, the final number, because I subtracted out, so the final number you want the park board to have is 14,450? Is that right?
Right, you're right, and then that leaves a savings of 10,450, right?
They're at 25.
I think the park board.
10,550.
I think the park board was at 14,550.
I had 14,450.
It would be 450, wouldn't it?
So will we have to make a motion on the exact amounts for this meeting, and then that's final, or?
Yep, so if you guys, I mean, if you have no other changes that you want, then you would motion to accept and finalize the 2017 budget. With the approved,
Yeah.
or with the amendments.
This is the final budget, or do we have one more to?
No,
Go
this
through
is
the final.
this is the final budget, the public hearing.
Well, it looks like we got it to where we wanted.
So is this gonna get us down to, now, it's gonna get us down to a no mill increase or a no tax increase? Because the mills are worth more now.
I think it's a little pass out there.
0 mil increase. But we actually went over a little bit, you're at 68.
Okay.
What was the mill worth last year? Remember?
4227,
Now it's 45.
4520.
Ray, did you have a?
So, listening to the general conversation, you're gonna levy the same mills this year as you levied last year.
Right.
And if the valuation goes up, it will cost us more, but we understand that.
Yep.
And the valuation has increased.
Pardon?
The valuation has increased. It went from 4227 to 4520.
Yeah. The total valuation of the city is that?
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
but then if the county or the special assessor, I don't know for sure who that is, but he's not sitting too far from me. If he comes and raises it, then, but the mill levy will stay the
Right.
same, fine.
Anything else?
Basically, at 50 mills, we're looking at about an extra $14,500 at 50 mills. Roughly.
Anything else?
Maybe a motion to,
I move that we approve the budget
with this change.
with these changes.
For a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, Keith?
Aye.
Please?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, call the city commission meeting to order. We've not had a chance to review the minutes or the financials, so we're going to table those till next time. We can get into why later if we want to. Okay, so Susie Jacobson, request memorial building rental fee to be waived for fundraiser.
Yeah, we're having a couple of fundraisers for, there's a committee, just some volunteer members in the community for Riverboat as we did this year, and now we're planning ahead and trying to come up with monies for next year's planning. So we have a couple events we have on the memorial building rented for. One is a Halloween dance on the 28th, and one is the dueling pianos next April 7th. And with it being a fundraiser, we're checking to see if we can get the rental fee waived for both of those events.
Are there any, there's nothing else scheduled on those dates? Did you check with Joan and see
Yep,
if they're open?
I've talked to them a couple weeks ago, week or so ago.
Are these, I'm assuming Saturdays, I'm assuming?
Fridays.
Fridays.
Yep, both are Friday evenings.
I have no problem with it.
We used to request that you make the deposit.
Yep,
Right.
and I have that paperwork all ready to go.
Good motion?
So moved.
Okay, for a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Please?
Aye.
Good.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You betcha, thank you. 2017 budget, well, I think we're done with that. We're here. Sewer line and side view line.
Take one and pass it around, please. Unfortunately, this goes back a long ways. When Hoffman gave the property to the city. And I know you can all read, but for the benefit of the public, the owner and proprietor of the tract of land described above do hereby certify that I have caused the property described to be surveyed, plotted as G.C. Hoffman Edition and do hereby dedicate the streets, including all sewers. I also dedicate the easements for water, sewer, gas, electricity, telephone, and other public utilities. Now, this goes way back to 2000, so unfortunately, it's just been kind of thrown around backwards and forwards. Mayor Christensen back in 2000 was gonna do something, and it never got done. Mayor Miller made a motion to give it back to us. And then Mayor Bauer made a motion, the same motion, a few years later. And I guess my contention is, you people, the city commission, not you people, but the Washburn City Commission accepted this property from Hoffman. Strupp signed it. It was certified by the surveyor, which was wrong, but, and now you say it's ours, meaning the 4 people that are on that sewer line. My contention is you took it, he gave it to you, streets, sewers, everything, and now just because there's a problem, each mayor says, oh, it's yours, you can have it. We don't want it. I don't know how you
What's
can
the
give us
problem?
something that you accepted, took in good faith, and then just because the mayor says, well, we don't want it. And one of the reasons is the sewer line comes within 3 feet of my house, and the last engineering down the road you had, Cattersley and Jackson, they said, don't do nothing with that because you may cave in Hager's basement. But in 2000, excuse me a minute, here. Probably have seen those before. Take one and pass it around. Now, the green drawing there is the original line before it plugged up. When it plugged up, we had to do something. We got it partway augered out. The city then hired Mr. Philbrick to try and solve the problem. So the city extended the sewer down about 150, 200 feet. Larry was involved because he was the man at that time. Then, because Barnick was hooked into it, it was a hodgepodge. They put a separate line in for the Barnick residents, and then they went straight out and extended the city sewer 150 feet or whatever. I don't know, Larry, about that.
Tell out the main.
The main, yeah, the main. And then, when it was dug up, and God bless his soul, I don't know if he's around anymore, Philbrick said to me, he said, hey Ray, that's not your sewer, that's a city line, it's a 6-inch sewer. So way back to 2000, I keep showing up, and I guess I understand the situation where, because you're stuck with it now because somebody screwed up down the line or whatever. And so, I guess I want some answers from the city, how you can say it's not your line. You took it in 76? What does it say? When did Strupp sign it? October 11th, 1976. So I don't think any mayor can give that back to us unless we accept it, and we don't want it. So I don't expect you to make a decision this evening, but it's something to think about, and I don't want to get involved in a lawsuit if possible, that this can't be worked out amongst us, the 4 people that, or 3 people that live above me and myself. And when the city paid for all of this, we were under the assumption that Philbrick was right, it was a city line, and so.
Have you approached the planning and zoning committee? Just curious, have they had any input on this?
Why would they?
You know, the thing is, you know, Ray, what, you know, you brought this up, you know, before quite a few different commissions. You
Yes.
know, and I believe the last time they said, you know, we can get rid of this, you know, but, you know, it's gonna cost everybody a lot of money. Well, we'd have to give easements to everything, run the sewer, and then run it down the alley. I mean, that's gonna be
Well,
very, very expensive. And
They looked at that, what we got, A2? They looked at that and threw up their arms and said, forget it, this fall. Or, yeah,
It was at-
Jasper and his
At the
guys.
beginning of the 2014, 2015 project.
Yeah,
Yep,
whatever.
15.
So, I guess my point is, the Washburn City Commission in 1976 took what Mr. Hoffman gave them, okay? And so, it's the cities. You can't just say, well, it's yours now. I don't think, legally.
well, I think, you know, every time you bring it up, the city has always said though, you know, where, you know, they've pretty much been in agreement that they're not going to take it. So,
But you took it. In 1976, you took this. The mayor signed it. He must have some authority, the former mayor. So what I'm saying, talk to your attorney or whatever. I've talked to a couple, but I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do this or this if you don't do that. But the point is, common sense says it's your line. So I'll leave it at that.
we'll have to, you know, bring it before David, but I think we have one. I think it has been in the past, but, you know, we can bring it to him again, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We brought it to him, last spring, and he never communicated back to my attorney, so, I don't know. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rick.
Hard to get old.
Letters of protest for the special assessments. On Gomer, who's first?
Justin Plummer?
Oh, Justin, jeez, sorry.
Yeah, I'm the residence at 1449 Main.
You're the last one on the end.
Last one on the street. Yep. I bought the house in August 2014. My argument is that I was never told of these specials. I was never advised when I bought it. The problem I have right now is my house was built in 1952, I think it was. It's always been on a septic tank. It still is. I had that checked when I bought the house. Everything's working good. So my point is that I'll never use the sewer, and right now I'm gonna be charged, I think it's $11,500 for a sewer that's literally about 5-10 feet into my lot. So looking at a house that I bought for $165,000, I'm looking at 30,000 specials on that. Financially, I can't do it. And I would never purchase the house in the city limits had I known that. So I'm asking if that can be looked at.
Did you ask the person you bought it from why they didn't inform you?
I asked the priest, yes.
Okay.
He told me no, there was no specials
At that point, there probably
at
wasn't.
that point, yeah.
But it was already being done, right? The work was already being done, or had
Yeah, I
been
guess
done
there
when
was
you-
a assessment that went out prior to me purchasing the house,
Oh,
which,
Well, the project was already in the works when I believe when you were purchasing the home. The districts have been defined.
Also, state law does require if you're within, you know, 200 feet of a sewer, you legally have to hook up to it. You know, you can't stay on your septic. That's state plumbing code.
So you guys are gonna charge me more money to connect to the sewer?
Why didn't
I don't
they take
want
care of
You
that?
would be responsible for that.
That's what I said, you're gonna charge me more to do that.
Well, I'm just telling you what state law is.
I guess the bottom line is you guys want the city of Washburn to be a community that young people move into. At this rate of owing $30,000 on top of a mortgage with a fixed income, the city's not gonna expand at all, I can tell you that as a young person, that no one else is gonna purchase a house and be able to put up with the specials that are being put on. I've owned a couple other houses and I've never heard of a $30,000 special being put on one residence. So I guess I'm just asking for you guys to relook at it. I think it's a little excessive.
I just think we ought to get the feds in here and see who's getting the kickback and who ain't.
What's your name, sir?
My name's Anthony.
Anthony?
Yeah, and I'm kinda upset about it. I mean, it's not right.
What's your last name?
Well, my name's just Anthony for right now. All right?
Okay, he has the floor right now, so.
Well, I understand that. But you see his point? That's the point I'm trying to make too.
I know, according to the Century Code, you guys are the authority and you can decide which, who gets what specials. I'm just asking that it be reviewed and looked at because I don't know why I would, I paid for the, for the septic tank to be looked at and everything before I purchased the house. So now, 2 years down the road, I'm getting charged $30,000, plus possibly you have to pay to get into the sewer. It's
What's your street address again?
1449,
Right down Main, right?
last house in there.
I know where it is, I should know that.
And I understand that the property can have access to it. I mean, I'm in total agreement if I septic tank, went out, that I'd pay to get into the sewer, but I've got a septic tank that's working, I don't ever see that happening.
Okay, so when you say 30,000, is that a ballpark figure, or is that?
I don't know the exact number, but it's pretty close to 30.
Larry, one question for you on a septic tank. Isn't there something with the whole grandfathering in on that? After such and such a year?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Not according to plumbing.
Cause I got the same thing in my shop, right next door to me.
There never used to be a sewer.
There was,
Same thing,
You'll have to look up
since
too.
1950 something.
You have the ordinance on. That ordinance is still on the desk, we go grab it.
Are you getting hit with the same specials he's getting?
We're all getting hit hard. Doesn't make any sense.
You're talking everything, Justin, you're not just talking the streets, you're talking everything.
I'm talking everything, be 30,000. The sewer, I think, is 11.5 something.
Yeah.
You been out here more than once?
Excuse me?
Probably 3 times.
How we did the assessments for sewer is based on parcels. So if we had 2 parcels, we get 2 sewers, so that's based on a parcel as a user when we looked at sewer and water.
But I'm wondering, did you have 2 sewer?
He owns the lot beside him also, so he has 2 pavements and a sewer.
1 sewer though, right? And then, you have the figures.
Let's see. One of the pavements was at 78/30/17.
I'm sorry, what's 78?
30, 17
Okay,
cents.
got it, thank you.
One's 99, 76, 78.
Did you find his other one?
I have one, there's 31 right here.
You have the parcel but beside you, right?
Yep.
His second parcel is 997678.
Yep. Is this one here just pavement, you know, or is that
The
water
yellow is
sewer?
primary pavement, and the rest of it is secondary asphalt, and then your other pages.
Right, okay, there's another one, right? Okay, right here,
All
got
of
it.
the others at the top, they say water or sewer at the top.
Okay, got it. So this would be sewer.
Sewer is 11,348 per user. $29,155. That's not it.
What'd you say? 29,
I'm redoing it
155?
here.
29, 155 is what I got.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, you're very close.
So the one parcel is the 9976, and then the other two are the sewer plus the asphalt. So the other parcel is his primary residence where his home is 19,178.17.
Would you say that again, please?
Sure. 19,178.17.
Oh, I see, okay. So that 99, 76, that's for the other parcel, the payment on that other parcel. Got it.
And 29,155 for all three.
Okay, I think that's something, you know, we'll consider. I guess, you know, I'd like to hear from the rest of the people, and then, you know, we can kind of decide what we want to do, so. Thank you for your time. Right? You're
What
next.
was, what was the gentleman's sewer assessment?
11,000 something.
11,348.
Like everybody else?
Correct.
Correct.
Yep,
And the rest was pavement, right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't use the sewer. I have a septic tank.
Well, I understand, I know that. My point is, you're talking $30,000 worth of special assessments,
Yeah.
but for the sewer assessment was only 11,000 something.
Yep,
And then you're paying for the street just like I am.
yep.
See, and if you have a bigger lot, you're gonna pay more than I am, because I have a little lot.
But your argument was for the 11,000
By large.
septic.
The argument
Yeah,
for
his,
the sewer.
yeah.
His argument was only for the for the
I know I
sewer.
can't get out of the pavement,
Yeah.
but
Right, right.
sewer,
But you said your special assessments were 30,000.
total.
For everything.
I didn't hear the word total, I'm
Yep,
sorry.
total. Yep.
Okay, so
Sit in front.
just to be clear, your protest was just for the sewer,
You didn't hear me.
right?
Correct.
Okay, so then that's the 11,000.
11,348 is what he is
Okay,
requesting you take a look at.
okay. Okay, the next one is Ray, Arden, Mitch, and David.
Here's the representative.
I guess Ray is the representative.
Pardon?
You're the
You're the
representative.
Yeah, for the 4 people that are on that,
Okay,
on the,
and
sewer line.
no, you're protesting just the sewer also? Or are you protesting everything?
no, I'm paying for the street, and so are they, up on their end.
So you're here
I'm
to protest
protesting-
the sewer?
I'm protesting the sewer,
Well, I just want to be clear,
Yep,
because we should have
that's all.
asked that for the first
just,
time.
just the sewer. So you got 2 hypothetical things. If it's our sewer, you follow me? You hook up 1 line to the main,
Okay?
and you're charging us $45,000, $11,000 to each family, and you hooked up 1 line, so he and Herman and George and everybody else that got hooked up are paying $11,000. Why are we paying $45,000? If it's our line, which it can't be, but hypothetically. And if it isn't our line, then we never hooked up at all. You just added on to the city line. I mean, Hoffman was a very shrewd and shifty character and bared watching at all times, and he wasn't watched. So,
Personally, I think that's a reach, just because you are getting that service, just like everybody else, and you're still only paying 11,000, just like everybody else is. And
but they
even
never
though-
touched my sewer. My individual house sewer line was never touched, neither was Wackendorf's or those people.
Yeah, I understand that, but your stuff is still going to the main sewer.
Yeah,
Yep.
it always has been.
Yep.
But my stuff goes to the main sewer, and then the main sewer goes to your main sewer, hypothetically, but you don't wanna admit that.
It's
Because,
going by past commissions, right?
huh?
It's going by past commissions.
Yeah, so, so we know we have to pay something. But it was brought up at the special assessment, because we met with the special assessment committee, okay? And the question was asked by one of the members of the special assessment committee. How much does it cost to hook up a line? Okay, $2,000. So you hooked up 4 people for 2,000, so you saved 6,000. That was brought up and talked about, all right? So we said, okay, fine. Charges, give us 4 divided into 6,000 that you saved, and give us back $1,500 a piece, and then maybe it'll be our line, we don't know.
So what you're saying is each of you is paying $11,348 and you want $1,500 back a piece?
Well, it was,
That's what you just said.
yeah.
But
But they wouldn't make the motion, but
No, I
they
know.
brought it up.
But that number was a hypothetical number,
Right,
no one could tell us what the actual
The-
cost was.
So, ma'am, if you go look at the minutes, if they were taped, Jasper, the engineer for AE2, sitting in about this area, said it cost $2,000 to hook up a home to the main sewer. I don't forget stuff like that. That's what he said. Well, then, we left.
That's a hookup fee, I'm sure. I mean, by the time you get digging and everything else in, it costs $2,000.
Well, I'm just telling you what,
Well, he did say that, but it wasn't in the context that that was the exact amount is what it costs to hook up. He was asked, Mr. Van Horn asked, what do you think it's going to be? And he said, you know, maybe
$2,000.
about $2,000. Whether or not that's an exact number or not, that is true. We do not know that. But he did say that.
Well, let's find out and break it down and give us a break.
So when these guys met with you, what did you tell them? Just, you decided not to change anything, or?
We didn't because we saw it as a community line, not a city line, because that was our understanding of what the city commission had decided.
Right.
And so that, what we have always done for a community line, when we did the past assessment too, is we assess them per user. And so that's what we had decided.
You know, and quite honestly, that's the way apartment buildings are too. You know, you
Right.
have six,
Yeah.
so you have 6 apartments in there, they get 6 assessments. So,
All I'm telling you is I'm trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And if anybody in here reads what Strupp signed, then I got news for you. If it goes to court, just read it. He gave you the sewer, old man Hoffman, and the city accepted it. And you're telling me it's mine, and Arden's, and Wackendorf's, and Kelch's? Come on, So all we're doing is, we understand we have to pay, in other words. And the other complaint we have is we don't think, if you read anything you can find about a special assessment by the Special Assessment Committee, it's supposed to be fair. Now, all of a sudden, the large lots were capped at $3,700, period.
Residential.
Not all of them.
Residential.
Residential. I'm talking residential, not commercial. Okay? And so, those people are paying less. If they're non-primary, they're paying less than the guy with a small lot. And we really don't think that's fair. A special assessment is supposed to be fair to the citizens of the special assessment district, and that's the whole city.
Did you bring that up to the special assessment committee?
No, we didn't know about it at that time. So now, finding out they're paying 3 cents or whatever, and everybody else is paying 4. Now, I was on the special assessment committee. That's not a good job. But 2 people on the special assessment committee have large lots. And I leave it at that. But you can make them go back and redo whatever you want them to redo. But I don't think it's fair that, they buy these great big lots so that nobody can build around them and all this stuff. And then when special assessments come up, oh, the property's no good, it's just a bunch of junk. And wait a minute. They bought it for one reason, to have a little privacy. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Rick.
Everybody else gets stuff paid for there.
okay, Elaine Carr? Okay, and-
I'm one of those people that has a big lot.
okay, and you're protesting what now?
I, by special assessment.
Well, like, you talking water, sewer, pavement, all of them, everything? Just like, you talking water, sewer, pavement, or?
Just the
Oh, I-
pavement.
Just the
She
pavement.
only has she only has a pavement
Okay,
assessment.
okay, that's what.
I am working with Aaron Mummert, the surveyor with the Interstate Engineering. And I'm having I have had my property surveyed. For whatever reason, whenever they done all this thing, they put my property, which was all contained into one area, into 3 parcels. Because of the special assessments, I have to have it resurveyed and put into 1 parcel in order to cut down on my assessments.
Okay.
But because I had contacted Aaron some time back, but because he was busy and he had setbacks and stuff, he wasn't able to get to it until just recently. And, so now he's got the paperwork to do, and when it is completed, it will be one parcel.
Are you a secondary or a?
I am secondary, yes.
So the first lot is unplatted at this time, it's 372888,
37, 28, 88.
or 2588, excuse me. Her second parcel is platted, it's $621.95.
$621.95.
Correct.
Okay.
And the last one is, 2,396.62. Does that sound right, Elaine?
Yep. We did reduce the cap, which helped a little bit this year, but, 9,500 last year and over 7,000 this year. I'm retired, I'm single, I can't afford that, and I am not selling.
So total, we're looking at what, like 11,000, unless I screwed up, 744? That's not right. I might have got it wrong.
It should be about
6,000? Oh,
I think it's
yeah,
over
you're right.
7.
My bad. I put the six, carried the 6 over too far. Yeah, you're right. You're right, so 6744. Roughly.
6744.45.
Okay. And what is the cap for,
For the secondary residential and agricultural is $3,725.88 for secondary assessment.
And that means per parcel?
Per parcel, yeah, we did everything for the assessment per parcel.
What was that again?
$3,725.88. And it's on this sheet too at the bottom. If you guys have the sheet, I'll tell you for the session.
So then Elaine, last year you paid on 3 parcels?
Yeah.
And so this year you're going through the process to combine them into one, but it's not complete? Is that right?
He was just there again today, and, Aaron wasn't, but, one of the guys that works for Aaron or works with him anyhow was there.
Just like the rest of them, we'll wait till we hear from everybody and then we'll figure out if we want to do anything. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Brent?
Can I get the number on my lots, lot 9, 9B, 9C, 9D, west half of lot 10, and then across the street from Justin Cromer's house?
Okay, first of all, you're, what is it, pavement or?
Well, there's seven, start with the sewer, I guess. I just wanna know the numbers, cause what I was told the first time versus the second time to now, I don't really know exactly what they are. Sewer and paving.
The pavement assessment is $36,488.95.
That's, okay. One more time.
$36,488.95.
And that is for parcel number 811802. 00017 000.
And what was the sewer on that one, Joan?
Sewer is the same for everybody. It's 11,348.40.
And then the one across the street,
It's the same. for
for the
sewer.
pavement?
Your protest just addresses the one, so that I can try.
I was just curious
try
the
to-
dollar wise total.
Wanna talk level?
I guess with Mr. Hager talking about the fairness and everything else, I'm the only commercial property not capped in the city of Washburn. And that's obviously because that's the primary, I guess. So just the one shop alone is $47,800 and some odd dollars.
That's what you added together.
What's that?
That's if you add.
Total, yeah, yep. I didn't get a chance to come to the first special assessment meeting they had. Everything added together was roughly $44,000. And then I got a phone call about a week later, after it was in the paper, and the total went from $44,000 to $72,000. You know, it was hard to swallow the 44,000, but I didn't come to the meeting because I was combining and busy, and I just accepted that was it. But when they added $28,000 more onto there, they told me that property was not capped because I run my little lawn care business. Actually, I park my equipment there, and it's billed out of my house. I don't have a physical address that I run out of down there. I guess that lawn care business can't afford that, to be honest with you. And I guess, you know, the residential lots are capped at a different level than the commercial lots, you know. Is there a different level of service, is my question? And I guess is every lot being treated equally in town, you know? Is my question to you guys, and, you know, $28,000 more is a lot to swallow, is where I come from. So I'm asking you guys to relook at that at the next meeting and be able to work with me.
So basically, what happened was the pavement went up from, I'm gonna say, what, 11,000 or?
He was
something?
capped. So he was capped at the 10,645,
Oh, and then they looked at it
and then they looked at
realized it was
it,
commercial.
and he was established as a commercial property, and so he was uncapped.
And that made it go up $28,000?
It did. It's based off the square footage of the property, and it's a very large lot.
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
it is.
So would I be beneficial to you guys, or rezoning that to one parcel down there instead of,
It is one parcel now,
well, all 5 lots are?
correct.
Okay.
They're different lots, but it's one tax parcel, I guess.
Okay.
right?
I guess it is what it is, but I'm asking you guys to look at that, and then I just wanna make sure that as a community of the whole being fair again, are all the places of dollar-making businesses treated equally in the city of Washburn? I just want to throw that out there to make sure everything is being treated equally, and if you say it is, great, we'll continue from there. Because I want to be treated the same as everybody else, and currently I'm the only commercial lot that's not out of the whole city. And there's residential stuff zoned that's making way more money than I am out of mowing somebody's lawn. If that's the case, it's more or less a business for some kids to come and work, and my wife to do the billing, and me to fill in when they don't show up for work. If that's the case, you know, the main reason to have that of this is just to help kids out and whatever,
And the community, and it's driving small businesses out of town, I guess. I don't know, at the very least, I think we need to have the sewer looked at. Again, we are where Justin is with septic tank in there.
it's been in my family name since 1951. That's why I talked about the whole grandfathered in thing. It's
And the
never
other-
switched names, it's never switched anything.
The other lot across the street has grain bins on it. I mean, there's nothing there. It's,
I've never had water, I've never had sewer where the green bin lots are, never. There's no, not even electricity there. And, you know, I try and clean that up down there, it's came a long ways to what it used to be. I mean, and, you know, I think it's $72,000 total, I could, you know, with everything, I'm talking. And it's out of my range.
Right, I hear you.
55,981.
For everything? Because when we talked that day in the combine, I thought you said.
Just for that one parcel.
I'm talking total,
Oh, for both parcels, yes, you're probably up there.
72,000, so.
And that land currently is residential land, right?
The one where the grain bins are, correct.
Well, is-
It is what it is, so.
but your shop, is that on residential zoning, or is that on
Well,
commercial zoning?
it's commercial through the county.
It's taxed as a commercial.
Yep. And if you can't do anything, I mean, we'll come to the next meeting or whatever we gotta do. But I just wanna make sure it's fair throughout the community, because I know it's not. And if I'm gonna be treated unfairly, I'm gonna make sure everybody's treated fairly. Because I don't wanna sit and pay for everybody else that's not, is what I'm getting at.
The commercial is capped and the secondary
But
is
is there,
not capped.
is there any other commercial that's a primary though?
There's other commercial property that's owned residential and they run commercial out of there is what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
And there's several of them
He is the only commercial property
Okay.
zone
at this time in the
used,
primary.
yeah.
But there's other stuff in the not primary that's gonna be primary someday, or there's other stuff that's
That are running.
capped at residential that runs a business out of there
Right.
that makes a lot of money. If you can't work with me, I get it, I just want it to be fair
Right.
throughout the whole community. $72,000 is, my value of that property down there is, you do a percentage on the value of that property, both lots, compared to both lots, what I'm getting charged, it's ridiculous.
I don't think we could even sell it for 72,000. I mean,
Right. I hear you.
You know, I think I mean, it probably doesn't matter, but I don't think you can even get that, sell it.
Well, just like the rest, we'll take it under review very
So-
shortly and we'll see what come up
Thanks.
with. Is that it for the, protest order? Okay.
I'd like to say something, since everybody else has done spoke. You know,
Got 2
these
minutes.
people, huh?
Give you 2 minutes.
Okay, I got 2 minutes, I can take that. You know, Brett there's talking, you got him back there talking, you got that lady right there talking. These people can't sell, and there ain't nobody wanting to come in here and buy. I mean, I think we need to have, another committee to come in and assess all these special stuff. I mean, It's not
Another
right.
committee did this. We did not do that. A different committee did assess.
well, I mean, something needs to be done. And not just sit here and pass the buck on to somebody else.
How were the calculations figured out through that committee? Was it off of
So
other
would you-
cities?
Here, I'll go ahead and speak to that. Okay, I will go over, I'm just gonna go over what we went over at the public meeting.
You need to speak very loudly.
Oh, okay. And maybe, is it
turn-
okay if I
yeah.
turn this way?
Or do you want
Absolutely.
to stand over by Larry and? Okay,
Yes.
project in that direction.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna go over a couple of things. The district, what we do for assessments is the entire city of Washburn. We don't take a particular neighborhood, things like that, it's the whole city of Washburn. And we do things based on parcels, okay? So your parcel is based on, it could be several lots, it's what the parcel is, that we base the assessment on. And we did categories of property, and that's the primary use of the property, and we don't necessarily go by zoning. In Washburn, we have some residential houses that are zoned industrial. We go by what was the primary use of that property. We have residential, we have commercial, we have agricultural, we have government land. And then we have our primary assessment district. A primary assessment is who directly that project touches. So if you have pavement outside your house, you're a primary. If it touched the side of your property, you're also a primary. If it doesn't touch your home or your parcel, you are a secondary. And
One
that's-
thing, Stu, though, but like, the question I have is, I really don't care if it's primary, I don't care if it's residential, if they're doing business out of there and making income out of there, they should be treated the same, right?
Or is it, hey, that's
It's-
Joe over
Okay,
there.
okay, hold on,
Okay.
hold on,
She's
hold on.
not gonna wait. And it's the primary use of the property. So if the primary use of the property was, that's your residence where you're living and you have a business in there, if it's the primary use of your property is a residential, you look at it as residential. If the primary use of it is commercial.
So it'd be
you look
different
at
if
it
I had a house down there then?
as commercial. If that was the primary use of the property, then that we would have.
You got a
zoned that
camper
as
down there.
So if I put a
residential.
residence down there, and I believe it's in the code, the planning and zoning, that if I put a house down there, the code to that is 900 square feet, correct?
I don't know what the code is for buildings, so I could not answer that question.
What's your primary business out of there? Is it farming
Lawn
or
care.
is it-
Well,
is it-
I use it more for farming than I do for lawn care.
It's storage for the farm and the lawn care. We run all the billing out of our house. We're gonna have address there.
Okay.
Okay, so then we went into the different districts. So there is the street improvement district, and that was all that pavement that was done. And you can see, if you have the budget sheets in front of you, I'm not gonna read them all. There's the construction. The city did contribute to the project, so that came off the top of the total bill for the, project. And so we had the amount that we would, to assess. That amount we took and we divided it, 50% went to the primary, 50% went to the secondary, okay? And realized that there were a lot more homes in the secondary than there would be in the primary, okay? The primary, the residential and agricultural property, we did cap, at 0.05% of the property, so the number for that was $10,645.38 of the total cost for primary, and we did not cap commercial properties. For the secondary, we did different caps. The secondary residential and agricultural, the cap for that was $3,725.88. Commercials were capped at $15,968.06 for the property for the secondary assessment. And you can look, the numbers are down there for what those came out to be per thing. We did look at also corner lots. If a corner lot was fully in the assessment, they just got one. We've done several projects, so there were some who were corner lots, had one side of the property paved, one side not. And we looked at those, if it was the side that faced the front of the property, the address to the project, that was assessed as the full price. If it was the side of the property that was not the front of the property, they were assessed at that 50% of that property because they only received one road, not both roads paved on that. Okay. Then there were the water and sewer. For the two water and sewer projects, they were assessed the same. They're assessed per user. So if you were a user on that project, you received an assessment. Everyone who was a user received the same amount of the assessment. There was also a sewer project that took place that went out to RDO, and that property across from there. RDO was a requester for that property. And we had to assess that a little bit differently because it wasn't really per user, it was a requested project. 60% of that project went to RDO, 20% went to the renter property that's over there. The county shop received 10%, and then the remaining 10% was divided up among those additional lots. There were some lots that are all with the same building, and so we just divided those up among each of those parcels that were in there, and that's how we came up with a special assessment. A lot of you are wondering, we did, why the secondary cap was smaller than the residential cap. When we did the last assessment, we did have them the same. We had a lot of people come back and thought that wasn't fair because the secondary assessments don't get a road in front of their house where a primary assessment does. And so primary assessments, people felt that wasn't fair, that if they got paid, have to pay more than what a primary had, and they didn't get a road in front of their home.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is there a reason the commercial properties were not capped in the primary?
That's my question.
Okay, yep, the consensus with the committee was a primary property is having, if you look at, in general, a business, no, not all businesses are in general, and I know that, they're having outside people come in, they're having more traffic come in and out than a typical property would, and so we decided not to cap those properties.
The reason I have on that street down there is everybody uses the street, it's Main Street, they use that in and out of town.
Right.
It says
And-
truck route.
And truck route, that's the farm to
district.
market road.
Right, and
Can't we get some
No
money
longer
from
the
farm to
truck
market?
I will say that we did buy that project down by 19%, because it was a truck route, and we used some surge funding for that.
So the decision to not cap a commercial property was because we have an income producing business, is that correct?
Right, and that's why part of it was, it's not the income, but the increased
Yeah.
traffic that a commercial property has in general. Now, obviously, your business might not have as much traffic as, say, the grocery store coming in or a gas station.
Great, we have
There's
one
zero
16-year-old boy. I
He
mean,
drives his car in, long-term
So-
vehicle leaves.
Right, but we also can't go to every property individually and say, okay, this one only has this much traffic, and so we look at commercial properties in general too.
And that's why we don't protest.
Yeah, and that's why we do have the protest, so people can.
What happens if I get rid of the business tomorrow then?
It would depend on what is the primary use of
Agriculture,
that property.
agriculture. Would that work?
we store tractors there, and we do.
It's storage, basically. That's all it is. I mean, you know,
Yep.
I just don't
Billings
feel
out of
that
the
it's fair
house.
to punish us for being a small business out of there, when you can look at our income taxes, and we pay property tax, we pay income tax. Income tax is a totally separate thing.
Right.
So if we make $10 million out of there, it shouldn't matter.
You still pay the taxes.
Right, what?
If you remember, I asked you a question when we met with you and your committee,
Okay,
of how you arrived at $3,700 just out of the sky for the big lots.
The residential ones.
okay.
The non-primary residential lots, it was bingo, 3,700 and some bucks, and you couldn't give me an answer. Can you give me an answer now?
I can tell you why we capped those properties. When we looked at a lot of the larger properties, they were on the outside of town. Also, if you look at
No,
what-
they're in town.
Right, but they're on the edge of town, not necessarily receiving as much services as some of the lots. Now,
On the edge of
some
town,
lots do,
too.
some lots don't.
I'm on the edge of
But
town.
also, if you have a non-primary lot, your secondary lot, you're getting very similar benefits for all the secondary lots. You're all driving on streets in town, things like that, and so when you do a secondary, everyone in the secondary is receiving similar benefits. We're all gonna drive on Main
We all-
Street. We all know that, and so we looked at doing that cap lower than what we would do for a lot that actually received the pavement. We looked at several different numbers. We do put a cap on because
But what's the calculation? How did you get to that cap?
we looked at different numbers to see what we felt was a fair number, and again, it is an opinion.
Shouldn't be a cap.
So how is,
Shouldn't even done that.
how is
No.
3,500 fair to a large lot? And because I have a commercial lawn care property, it's
So Brent's paying for
56,000.
everybody else who got a cap.
37,000.
Well, and you're in a primary versus secondary too,
Everybody utilizes them streets the same as I do.
We should all be the same.
but you also received a pavement in front of your property. And so that's why we separated them into primary and secondaries.
And one more question. And this was different from the last special assessment committee. You did it differently than the last special assessment committee, right?
Right.
Which is your privilege, I'm not,
Right, we did lower that cap because the main feedback that people came to us with from the previous assessment was they felt that wasn't fair that we did the cap for the secondary and the cap for the primary the same when a primary is receiving a street in front of their house versus someone who didn't receive a street in front of their house.
Everybody have a
and that-
street in front of
and
their
so that's
house?
why we decided to reduce that in this.
Well, it's not fair. And if you read the brochure that's put out by the state and some attorneys, special assessments are supposed to be fair. And the big lot gets a break, and it bothers me that two people on the committee own big lots. It's not, it's funny.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's your opinion, and if the commission feels we didn't do a good job, they can always send it back to us, but at this
I'm
point, that's the
talking the
decision now of
difference
the commission.
between,
This primary and
Did
secondary.
you guys have any more questions
no,
about
just
that?
the secondary.
Yeah.
I just ask that you guys take a look at it and come back with something fair rather than just turn it into a pissing match.
That's all it's gonna be from here on out. It's in y'all's hands. If y'all wanna make this right for everybody, y'all can do it.
Well,
Excuse me?
just move
I,
downtown.
as a homeowner, my question is, should we expect these specials to continue at the rate they have been for years to come, or?
You
I
mean
mean,
street
since-
work?
Yeah,
Well, I guess that's gonna kind of depend on what the people want to do. I mean, we did our unofficial survey and people said, yes, absolutely, let's, I'm talking about for this project that we're doing now. The project then, we weren't the commission then, but I know there's other areas in town that really need.
But you think about it though, is we're primaries, many people are primaries. In a way, is it right then you just stop so some people don't have to be primaries?
well, yeah, but you can't.
We should all be the
How
same
many
though.
times
Everybody's
do
got
we
a,
But now should we switch it once?
no, but everybody's got a
That's the way it was
street,
last time.
everybody's got a street in front of their house.
Yeah, yeah.
So why should I be primary and why should they be secondary? And
But
then I
now
get
that we
taxed
are
more.
primaries for the next project, should we switch it?
But
so-
why should I get taxed more than the other person?
But in the previous project, they did.
Well,
Then
yeah.
One guy
when the
did.
secondaries
Right.
become primaries, then the primaries become secondary.
Right.
But if we
Right.
switch it now, then the
some-
primaries are
the
gonna pay.
people that are primaries now are gonna get screwed
Right.
because they're the primaries, but then the people in the future will never have to
Will
be a
never
primary.
be a primary.
So if one
Right.
person gets screwed, then screw everybody.
Yeah,
No,
when-
that
That's
doesn't
not
make
right.
any sense.
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yes, that's what you just said. You
No.
guys are getting this now.
I'm saying that you are primary now,
Right,
okay?
along with everybody
Yep,
that uses that school.
and I'm a primary down here. So let's say we do another area of town. Do you want to pay the same as the people that have it right in front of their house now?
No,
In
that's
the
what I'm
next-
saying, is
Oh,
that
we're agreeing.
if we made a mistake by doing that, let's not continue to make that mistake.
But
Right.
if
But
we
we
don't
didn't.
continue it, you're going to have to pay more, and the person that's a primary in the future will pay less.
I understand that, but what everybody's saying is that they feel like they're getting screwed. So if we're going to keep doing it this way, everybody's gonna keep feeling that way.
No,
Fix
because
it
it'll
so that it's not-
flip-flop
It'll
the next
flip-flop.
project.
Yeah, the next
Why don't you
project.
just put it all together and have like a wheel tax? I
Ray,
mean,
you have your hand up. Go ahead, Ray. Oh, sorry.
One of the problems, and it's not your problem, but the special assessment committee can kind of walk on water. And we got a completely different special assessment committee, and it's legal for them to change the way it was done
Let's
on the last
not
street.
get too carried away when we've got only one here,
Mhm,
and she's gonna be the person we're attacking.
Why aren't the
I'm
rest
not
So
of
let's-
attacking, I'm.
No, I know,
I'm
but let's be
pointing
careful
out.
she doesn't feel like she's the one being attacked, because she's the one that had courage to show up.
But what happens,
And thank you for that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And realize that the special assessment committee gets all these billions of dollars, and we have to decide how to divide that up. That project has to be spent, the money is already spent, so we have to decide how to divide that up among the residents. And believe me, we took many, many meetings to try and come up with a formula that we felt would be fair to the residents. And we are all on that committee, all of us have different property owners, and we are paying our assessments as well. So it's not like we're trying to be unfair to somebody else or things like that. We're trying to come up and look like what is gonna be fair for everyone in our town. And so that is a very difficult decision, and don't think we took that lightly.
And let's make sure we realize too, is if my specials are lower, somebody else has to pay them.
yeah,
The-
but
the pro- the-
I'm not upset with her. All I'm trying to explain is that if she decides to get off the special assessment committee and the other two people, then you have to appoint three more, and who knows what they're gonna come up with. So, none of the special assessments are etched in stone.
But you know what though, Ray, the city can pass an ordinance on the way specials are assessed. If we, find that we like a certain way, we can pass an ordinance that that's the way specials are gonna be assessed. And then it would stay the same.
Yep.
And it would be, believe me, a heck of a lot less
Oh,
headache
yeah.
for the people involved.
Yeah.
The assessments,
Yeah.
okay, I just wanna say, the assessments from 2013, the process that was used or the formula that was used, that same formula or the basis is the same for the assessing for this project. They took the total amount of the project, they divided it in half. So half went to the primary, half went to the secondary. Then they took a percentage of the total project, and that's what came up with the cap for each. So for the primary, they took 0.005% of the total project. It came up to $10,645, and that was the cap in the primary. In the secondary, as Sue said, because that cap in 2013 was at 95.72, I think, the residents all felt that that was too high. So through a process of the past 2 years, the assessment committee has been meeting. They narrowed it down to where they felt that a 0.00175 percentage of the entire project, which came out to $3,725, was an appropriate cap for the secondary people. The formula is essentially the same from the 2013 project to the 2014-15 project. The cap was changed as a direct result of the residents saying that that 9,500 cap was too high for people to be able to absorb.
So can we request that we have a cap?
That would be something we're gonna discuss.
That is up to the city commission.
And that you'll base that decision on our income, or, I mean, what do you base that on, just who, what you decide?
It's not
of-
based on income.
It's what we think is fair.
So you guys thought $72,000 was fair?
Didn't say that.
No, you don't have to, that's what the numbers are.
But see, that's why we're here, is
Yeah,
is
to work it
to make a
Okay,
decision if
okay.
we think that's fair, or we don't think it's fair.
Okay.
So on the next project in town, is there, and maybe this was done and I don't know, what it all boils down to is not a lot of nothing was done in this town for X amount of years. Now we're getting
Yep.
stuck with it now, okay? A lot of other communities, when they have project coming up, they have a rough idea of what it's gonna be. Like this 29% or whatever increase was gonna be. You guys worked it all out, now it's gonna be down to 0, right? So, next time we do a project, is there, AES2 or whoever it is, can we figure out a rough idea of what it's gonna be? Go through the assessment committee, get a rough idea of what it's gonna cost each area, primary, not primary, if you're.
If we had the same formula, yeah, we could do that.
And
We
if
need to start
and
doing
if we knew
something
how much it's
because-
gonna bid out at,
Right,
but yeah.
right.
That
Some-
formula's not working.
Whoever said it earlier, Elaine's single, she doesn't work, she's on a fixed income. Somebody else said it when, down the years going, are you gonna keep seeing the increases? If that's the case, this isn't gonna be the grandest little city anymore, it's gonna start.
It's gonna diminish.
Yeah, unfortunately, somebody has to pay for it,
I get it, and it's not your guys' responsibility, I get that, it's from the years of not doing anything, but now we're getting stuck with it, but,
Right.
so this means we're doing it all at once, and the next time it's gonna need it all at once again if it's not properly taken care of.
And even like the project we're doing now, I was the big push for that because I really figured that we would get really super prices, and we did. We will probably never see prices this good ever again.
It's just, it's just little things as a community I see, and everybody else
Right,
might
exactly.
disagree with me, but the road down by the park has never been paved forever. And they're down there paving that before they take care of the streets in town that people are ripping their lower bumpers off their car, It's just,
Yeah.
it upsets people, you know what I'm saying?
It's getting done.
That's what I said
Okay,
too.
the only reason for that though is because it was the only street that was dry enough to pave the other weekend.
And you have to realize too, is
And we didn't want Bechtel to leave town.
when we did
I
this
get it,
project,
but you see what people that have to drive down it every
Okay,
day have to
we're-
do.
just one thing, when we did this project on Main Street here, you have to realize too, is, and I wasn't on the commission, but we did it at the height of the oil boom. It was extremely expensive, you know? This project down here is half the price.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Keith, the streets were terrible, I'm not disagreeing with you, it's just,
But we need to move on. Sharon, you had your hand up?
Yes. And I guess some of you probably know that I spoke here a couple of years ago about all this. And like I said, I called those 9 different towns. All 6 of them did it by frontage. And the other 3, 2 of them didn't like what we're doing, but they had that different little clause in there. They had what you call the gravel rate. And that is for pieces of land that you didn't do anything, I mean, that you couldn't do anything with. And basically that was because of the coolies that we have here in town. And the other town, which everybody said, oh, no, we can't do that. But anyway, this was Mohawk. And they took the price of everything, or the cost of everything, and they divvied it up by everybody in town. And it came to $2,300 for each person.
But
And
but
this-
we don't know how big the project was.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, this is just what they did, you know. And anyway, the auditor said not one person came in there to complain, not one.
No.
And I'm not saying that, you know, we should do anything like that, but I just, and I presented it to the city commission about they did not have to make a ruling until November at that time. And I said, would you like the assessment to do it over again? So it'd be like the frontage. And everybody that I talked to, all the auditors that I talked to, they said that was the most fair way of doing it. And I think even Joan talked to a couple of the auditors. I guess I'm just thinking it's too late now, but for the next time that we have anything like this, it would be nice if the assessors could at least think about this other way. It doesn't have to be this way all the time. And it is really unfair for a lot of these people. And some of these people, I shouldn't say it, but have some magnificent property here in town, is getting by with a little bit of nothing.
The point is though, if we switch now, you know, in the future, then the people that were primaries on, you know, the last few special assessments are the ones that
That's
screwed.
what was said last time.
We'll just get a kickback.
I know, but is this going to be the way it's going to be all the time? And everybody's going to be complaining?
Well, I will say this is, since I just was a primary, or I'm a primary, the last thing I want to happen is it to switch now where I'm going to be a secondary and pay way more than everybody else that was a secondary. And I think that people in that situation should feel the same way. I mean, why would we want to switch? I mean, yeah, there needs to be tweaks, but why would you ever want to switch it up? And then the people that were already paying $30,000, $72,000 get to be a secondary, and then they're more of a primary already, again.
Even with the frontage rate, with the frontage rate, I'm not talking about the complete whole, you know, lot rate. I'm talking about just the frontage rate of your property. You know, and, I mean, it was just something that I thought they could look into. You know, not saying that they have to, but it's just something to look into, and this is way, like I said, all these other places are doing.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. Yes?
Yeah, say, in about 5 years, if we keep on this, what is the projected amount that everybody's gonna pay? Has anybody looked out 5 years? Is Brent, you know, at 70,000 this time, in 5 years, is it gonna be double or triple that? I mean, so he's getting, so this time as a primary, but as a secondary, and you get hit how many times as a secondary? Has anybody done the math in 5 years, what this will add up to everybody?
To see if it is fair.
Has anybody done the math in 5 years if you keep at this projected rate?
Well, we won't be having 5 more projects.
No, but we have this year's project to think about next year,
Keith, what
right?
I'm getting hit for now is from last year. So
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah.
on this year, right here, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get hit again.
As a secondary.
Who cares?
But there's.
So, I'm not done. My next thing is, on the special assessment, I think what people are saying is that people are trying to benefit themselves by getting onto that committee. How can we make something that's fair for everybody, and how can we, as a city, vote on what's fair? Because it doesn't seem like this committee thing's working out for the benefit of the town.
The special assessment committee is actually governed by state century code. So that's it, the assessment committee has a completely different set of rules and regulations than.
Okay, then can I make a
than what
proposal
normal
for
do.
them to narrow their boundaries from capping from $3,700 all the way to no cap on somebody on the primary? I mean, it's so far apart, that's not even fun. So,
Say, Jamie,
Oh,
well, Sue, how
can I-
many
can I
meetings
just-
have
can I
the-
just point out too, that the public assessment committee it's a public meeting, and anyone can come in during any time during the special assessment committee and say, you know, we are concerned about this, we're concerned about that, and we had very few people who came in and put in that input.
Exactly, I'd ask Jamie, have you been to any of those meetings
And
as
so,
well?
because we
know
didn't
that
know it was
is
gonna
all
be
a
this high.
public thing, that people can have public input on the assessments if they choose to do so.
Was that meeting publicized?
Absolutely.
All those meetings are
Absolutely,
publicized,
they're
and there are
publicized.
plenty of people in this room
When
that
was
have
the,
come
when
to
was the
those
last
meetings.
one?
I just think nobody dreamt it was gonna be this high,
I guess,
you know, and what's gonna happen on the next one?
Let's let Jamie finish.
yeah, I'm not done yet. So, I think going forward with this special assessment, I think we need to look at that and lock it in. I mean, to where the whole city, kind of comes up with, you don't want to get nailed on the secondary because it changes. You don't want to get hit on the primary, and if we don't come up with something now, I think what everybody's saying here is that if we could have the formula set in place for everyone down the road, and then be able to calculate that formula before it starts, I think we'd all be a lot happier.
I agree
I mean,
with
this coming in afterwards and saying it's that much, I think that's what's getting everybody.
And that was the intention in the 2013 project, when the assessment committee made this formula. They put a lot of time and thought into it with the idea that moving forward is something that the commission would go ahead and adopt, so that we would be able to know and people would be able to know what they could expect as far as assessments. But there were some criticisms involved in some of those caps and how it was done, and here we are.
Well, I think the hard thing is that, I mean, you didn't really know till it was done, so you didn't know if you were supposed to go in and say something or not.
Right.
Is I think everybody's kind of deals, they didn't really know what was coming. But just like I asked when I first spoke up, in 5 years, what's your projected budget? What are we all gonna be paying for specials in 5 years? Anybody answer me that right now?
Off of my own property, I calculated it was going to be about $30,000.
Can a city official who has sat down with A2S or any of these, can anybody say that in 5 years, we plan on having the average Washburn citizen paying this much in specials? Has anybody done that? Anybody?
I just know myself what mine will be.
I didn't say yourself, I said,
Should we
For
know
the
everybody?
average?
Is that what we should know?
I think you should figure out the average cost for a
Do you
citizen
realize how
in
much
town.
time we've spent on this, Jamie? Do you realize how many meetings we've been to?
Whether it takes you 5 hours to do something or 2 hours, that's irrelevant. The action is what it is. But my question is, in 5 years,
The question, or the answer is we don't have the answer to that. No.
so can we figure out that answer before we ever do another road construction project?
For over the next 5 years, no, because if you look at the difference in the rates from the 2013 to the 2014 to the 2016 to the contractor fees that we're actually paying, those different, the difference in the numbers, it's a substantial amount of money. The bid price off the 2013, it came in at $1 million lower than what the engineer's estimate was. And then the actuals came in even lower than that. So if we were to go off of, you know, the prices of what oil is right now, where contractor prices are right now, and in the next 5 years, those prices shoot back up, then we're gonna be left with a very low estimate of what everybody's going to be paying, or vice versa, the other way around.
But even the $30,000, that's a lot of money in 5 years. And that's a average figure, probably.
I misspoke, I didn't do it over like a 5 year. I figured by the time the roads in Washburn were completed, that would be about what we would pay.
Well, Brent's way over that in 1 year.
Yeah.
Well,
But I
we still
figured
have to
my
decide on
property,
that.
not
I mean, you know,
Brent's,
No, I get
We
it.
haven't made a decision on it.
I
That
get
makes
it.
sense that they,
But you do have the protests on the table that
Yeah.
you guys need to go ahead and make decisions
Yes.
on.
I mean,
Do
you
we have to
know,
make
how we do
decisions?
stuff in the future is another question. you know.
It's just,
Yeah.
We're getting
To
way
be
off
fair.
track. Ray, real quick,
Okay, when this first project was gonna be done, Derek Laney said, let's make a district. And Mr. Bauer, the mayor, said, no, if you do that, they'll vote it out. So we'll put it over, the whole city has to pay for it. And that way, there won't be enough come together to vote out the project. And that's, if you had this in special districts, Elaine's district or my district, then the people would know, you'd be able to figure out a little bit easier. You know, I'm paying $100 a running foot for my blacktop, but somebody with a 300-foot frontage, he's capped.
okay, but now we're getting off our
Yeah.
subject here.
All right,
Thank you, Ray. All right. Okay,
Mr. Cromer.
What?
The thing is, you know, but when you redo a street, I mean, you want to put services into all the lots that are available, you know. I guess, as far as the first two, the sewers, I mean, I don't know how we can change the sewers. I mean, everybody's benefiting from them. That's just my opinion. Anybody else have any thoughts on it?
I know we had other people that we would have made them pay the entire amount, you know, and then eventually we didn't put it in, you know, but, so I'm thinking that if that's the case, you know, like the Ray Hager one, you know, they're using the service.
Right.
Justin Cromer, I mean, I feel really bad, but the person that sold it to you should have said something, you know, I mean, that's the tough thing there. You know, just.
I guess I'm having a tough time when the committee told me, have you ever thought about selling? Maybe that's your best option.
I think we all need to see
That's
that.
wrong right there.
Did they actually say that?
Yeah, Warren said maybe you should think about selling.
I apologize for that if that happened.
So, as a new citizen in this community, to be put up with that,
That's inappropriate.
You can't sell it because you can't sell it for $30,000 more than what you bought it for.
There's no way I can sell it, there's no way I can afford it.
exactly.
I'm stuck with mine.
I apologize for that, that's
So.
inappropriate.
But that's where my frustration is,
Yeah.
like, I can't sell it and I can't afford it, so.
If not
What's
using it.
everybody else think on that? We're talking about the sewers now.
So when do these assessments go final? I mean, if I may ask the question, are there any more meetings?
No,
Or
we have
this is it?
certified the assessment, and once we do that, then that goes on to you, and then you make the final decisions on it. So, yep.
So this is the final decision tonight? Or
Uh,
you haven't certified them yet?
No, the assessment committee has certified them to the city commission, but it is within your right to send them back to the assessment
Right.
committee to
Got it.
redo.
Rather than making a decision tonight, can you table these and discuss as a group and hit it at the next meeting so it's not an impulse decision?
Well,
No, we can't, because then we'll get in trouble for an open meeting. We have to
Can't you
publicize it.
Publicize it again?
Oh, what's the point of meeting?
Well, just so you got a little time to talk about it,
Well,
rather than
Can we send
each
it
one of
back
you
to
can
the
think
special
about it?
assessment committee to review
Maybe what?
Um,
these four?
The
This
sewers
is what they
are-
recommend.
The sewers are direct benefit.
What? No, another public meeting.
You can, but I'm just saying that
Right, I mean, yeah.
sewers are direct benefit.
Or if you all feel comfortable, go for it, I guess. I'm just threw it out there.
Seems to me that they should be able to think about it.
Thoughts on the sewers?
I feel, I mean, Justin, that house has been, I mean, as the city, you guys should know, there's more than just my shop and his house that are on septic in the city. There's several of them. You guys should know who that is, not?
Yeah, you know, just so you realize though, there is, and you've been on the city commission.
Kid, it's
There's been several situations where we've had similar to this, that we have charged people for sewer.
Even if you're not hooked up at all.
You know, so now, yes.
Yeah.
So now it's pretty hard to then say, but
You know-
you, we won't.
But it all goes back to, what year was it, Ray? 2000, 2003? I don't know, I didn't care about the stuff back then. When my mom's and dad's place got redone, right? Mr. Philbrick at that time for $700 would have ran it all the way down to the end of the street, and at that time it got voted down. I mean, there again, so now it goes back to the taxpayer for getting it, because at that time they turned it down. You see what I'm saying too?
Yeah.
Well, those commissions turned everything down, that's why we're in the mess we're in today.
I'm just
We're getting way off.
personally trying to be consistent.
I get it.
That's all.
You said this has to be by when? October?
November 1st.
November 1st.
I get what you're saying, Keith.
Okay.
I'm just, fair is the key word. So,
So by November 1st, we will have another commission meeting.
We'll have one in October.
We just need,
It's not gonna get any easier.
we need a couple weeks to
But
prepare
like you say though, do we need time to think about these and instead of jumping into something? Or?
Well, you know, I guess, you know, like Joan said, you know, the sewer is direct benefit, you know, and, you know, and then the thing is, if somebody's had a septic system, that, you know, state law says if there's sewer there, you have to hook up to it. That's just, that's state law. I mean, that's not us saying that, you know, that is the state saying that.
And Larry,
But-
is it absolutely for sure that there's no grandfather here? That Brent asked about, you know, being grandfathered
Like I
in?
said, state law says if you're within so close, you have to hook up. That's state law.
That's within 200 feet?
I think it's with 200 feet of your property, I believe.
Well, that just changed last year when they extended it for me, because I was way over the 200 feet. And now conveniently, there's one at my approach on the east side of my driveway. I counted it the other day, and it's 150 feet.
Wow.
And it was like 278 or
Yes, we were
378 before.
Way far away.
Wouldn't that be they'd have to tie on to it if they had to alter the service? I mean, just because they set it there, do they have to do it?
I get that'd be great.
It wasn't there.
Still a value to the law, so.
Yeah. And I talked to Dave as well, and he's,
If you choose to
So-
look up later, then charge $11.
One question I need to
Well,
ask
we'll research into that.
before I forget. What changed from when it was in the paper to who, in my peace of mind, who caught the mistake or who brought it up, Joan? I don't remember what you told me. From the adding the 28,000 from the,
Somehow I hear my name got brought into this. And
I just want
Absolutely
to, I just
nothing
want
to
to
do with it.
clarify it, and I don't care who it was, I just want to know.
It was Mr. Van Horn.
Mr. Van Horn, okay, thank you.
Somebody said my name got brought up.
I heard your name did, I heard
had
it was
absolutely
other
nothing to do
people,
with it.
I just wanted to know at my peace of mind.
Yeah, so. I'm really curious as why, you know, the only thing that isn't capped is commercial and primaries. Seems like everything else has a cap. You know, and the reason I ask that is because, you know, once we get into other projects, you know, like I said, a lot of people have business out of their homes, you know.
Right, construction companies out of their garage.
Like, not only
Then
that,
what?
there's.
You know,
Exactly.
I mean,
Several.
I can say it. I can say it,
exactly,
yeah.
and that's what we're saying is,
And so, I mean, I think that's very legitimate
I will move my lawn care business out to the farm.
We could build a hell of a shop for $72,000 out in the country.
For the record, 1323, if anybody wants to buy it, it's for sale.
Maybe 14, 15 too.
We're getting way off on our comments here. We're getting way off on our comments here, so,
Well, how about this, is with Justin Cromer, we say that if it is law, well, then he's going to have to pay the $11,000. If it's not law, then we can just, put an addendum or something saying that when you do tie in, you'll have to pay that amount.
Yep, I agree with
that
that.
really doesn't make any sense.
What is that?
I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
But the century code says that the city council has the authority to rule.
If it is law. If he's supposed to hook up, he hooks up.
I mean, before we say that, I would like to see what the law says, you know, I mean, this, if this is this and
But are
if
we
not,
covering
it's
our base
that,
both
you know.
ways?
Huh? I mean, let's, then, if we're gonna do that, then let's table it until we look at it, you know what I mean? Because, you know, that leaves the question open. We should check and see, I mean, is this what it says? Do we have a copy of it here, of the state, of the code, or?
And then in the meantime, Justin, if there's any recourse with real estate, I would look into that, because it was not disclosed.
Disclosed to you.
Which would cost me more money for a lawyer, which I don't have. because
Well, I
I
mean,
got
you could ask,
special-
just ask some questions,
Yeah,
maybe it
yeah.
wouldn't be, but
I mean, I didn't have.
I
the
would look
input.
into something like
You know, I
that.
didn't have the input on the project. I didn't know it was coming, to tell you the truth.
Gotcha, I think that should have been.
Was that
disclosed.
private sell, or was that realtor?
Realtor.
Then that realtor should have known that there
They
was
didn't go
special
through a
stuff.
closing company?
Yep.
At least look into it, because it seems as if there was something missed.
I'm just asking first.
Yeah.
I see that.
It's only fair if you hook into it, then you pay it.
I guess I would like to know what the difference
Yeah,
is
but
on
it's-
Elaine's property too, if we, you know, if she has everything, the paperwork and all that to get it into one parcel, how much that changes that.
Should be capped at 37.
It would save her about $3,000.
For all of it?
Save her
So in other words,
$3,000.
I could put mine all into one parcel too?
Yeah, and then what are we opening ourselves up to, is that? is
Because I got
everyone-
4 lots,
But how do we stop that?
and there's nothing in the 2 lots behind me.
No, you can, anybody can choose to combine their parcels, but you just need to keep in mind that at any point, the assessment process can change. And they might decide to then go on front linear footage, and then you're going to have one very large parcel that would be assessed accordingly that way. But anybody can
No, I'm getting
combine their
4
lots
now.
if they choose to at any time, absolutely.
And with this
It's your
situation,
choice.
it's the timing of it.
Mhm.
You know, it had not been
There-
combined since
Yeah.
There's
before
no
it was
sewer
assessed.
on the back to it all. There's no water, no sewer, no electricity. I'm getting charged the same for the back two as I get charged for the
And that's your
front
choice if you wanna do that, you can have an
two. I wanna know why I'm
assessor
getting
do it.
charged the same for them when there's nothing on them.
Same as our
For a
lot
sec-
across the street
For a
with the grain
secondary, you're
bins.
talking
It's,
about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we were told it was because you have the potential to put sewer in there.
And I had brought this up once before at a meeting, and Bauer was the mayor, and that's where it went. There was nothing ever, I was never told nothing about it or a damn thing.
You know, I mean, unless it says here somewhere else, it basically says that, but at the owner's expense to install directly, you know, with the proper, public sewer in accordance with the provisions of this ordinance within 60 days after the date of official notice to do so, provided that said public sewer is within 200 feet of the property line. I mean, you know, when Enterbase put that building up there, that temporary building, you know, the city made them actually put in a sewer line for like $90,000 just for that little building for one toilet. I mean, because that's what plumbing code.
But my question on that though, Larry, is that we were within that 200, or with, outside of that 200, and then, like Brent said, magically stuff shows up so that you are within the 200, so that you have to hook in.
Right. That's what, I'm just saying, that's what plumbing code says.
And I believe you, but we were within the code of stuff, and then
We went to bid charge, that wouldn't get extended.
they
so now
extended
we're-
it, so now we're both out of ordinance, or something we had no idea on.
Well, and nobody's, saying naughty for not hooking up. I mean,
Well,
things change, yeah.
It does, but we still don't have a house there. I mean, we wash vehicles in there.
Here, Century Code kind of addressed it just briefly here. It says connections with sewers and other mains, the governing body of a municipality, when it shall deem it necessary by resolution, may require the owners of all property abutting any street, avenue, or alley to construct or cause to be constructed at the expense of blah, blah. The connections from water, sewer main, gas, stream, pipe, but, a resolution may be adopted pursuant to the section requiring the service connection to be made at the time of the laying and construction of the sewer, water, or pipe.
And this is our ordinance 104, so.
That, yep.
Yeah, this is the city ordinance 104.
Yeah.
But doesn't it also say that you guys have the power to overrule that too? It's up to the city council as the authority?
If you can't afford it, you can't do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's at the, we're discussing the 200 feet. Is that what's that question here? It's my understanding that the city commission can request someone to hook up to that if they're within 200 feet, or they can leave it as a septic system. We have, there's precedence for it. There was another system in town that has a septic system. They were given the assessment, but they did not have to hook up to
But they paid the assessment.
But they did pay the assessment.
See, that's what I think.
They were unable to hook up to it because they would have had to have had a lift station. But they were given the assessment.
That's the same scenario I'm in. I would have to have a lift station and I'd have to rip up the asphalt driveway that I just paid $14,000 for 2 years ago.
All right, so let's think on this till next meeting. Okay? Agreed.
Well, at the next meeting, would that be final then, or is there any room for discussion if you guys come back and say, okay, we're lowering yours to 50 or whatever, or is the next meeting kind of,
Actually, we're probably gonna need a special meeting, because if things need to be re-evaluated, and sent back for something, then they would have to have more time than that.
Do you have to advertise that meeting as well?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Is it possible for the special committee to be at that meeting too? So
so
everybody's
it's
in the
not just
same
one
room?
person getting it.
There were some extenuating circumstances tonight for the other two members, so they were unable to.
So they can be requested to attend that meeting?
Yep.
So when do we wanna have that meeting? It is 12.
Maybe just discuss it with them other 2 members and all you guys, so maybe it'll work out for everyone, maybe?
Kid, what works
And then
for
the
you?
only thing on the agenda would be these 4
Yes,
letters of protest?
yes. You know what? When's that public hearing for that conditional use permit?
I
Or
don't,
not conditional, yeah.
I don't believe we have the paperwork yet, so that might still be.
Oh, you didn't do that yet?
Pardon me?
We haven't received the paperwork from the
So that has not been
I thought he was
made.
gonna do that at the next meeting.
We haven't gotten it back.
We don't have an application or anything.
Okay, well, okay, maybe change his mind.
Would the 26th work?
26th work for anybody?
Yeah.
26th or
Kid
27th?
says no.
27th.
27th?
Of September?
Yeah,
September? Yeah?
Tuesday?
Yeah.
27th of September at 6:30. this is what we will discuss as these 4 items.
Doesn't count because it
And,
doesn't.
Can we have our lawyer here, Cassidy?
Sure.
That way you can
Absolutely.
answer some of these questions, you know what I mean? Instead of us looking it up in a book.
And request that all 3 of the committee members be here too.
Well, we'll request it, I don't know what their schedules are, but.
But again, the only thing that'll be on the agenda as of right now will be those 4 letters of protest.
Right, correct, yeah, correct.
And I just wanna make sure that when you guys are discussing this between now and then, that whatever you come up with, much appreciated, but just make sure it's fair for everyone, whatever you come up
You
with.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, Nick Rosenauer, regarding square footage of this parcel.
Okay, your city shows that my coulee was 72,000 or 73,500 square feet left, which is way over what I had. Where the house is, the lot there was 108.9 feet in the front, 36.4 feet in the back. Back when 2008 or whenever they hired this outfit come in here from Ohio to reevaluate or whatever, I don't know how in the hell they figured square footage. But they sure as heck did not, because your map right out in the front here shows exactly what my lot is. And they were way over. They had like 310 foot in the front and 40 foot in the back. And it's on the map. If they looked at the map, they should have figured. It's the same damn thing with the coulee. And anybody else that's got any large property, measure your square footage once and start figuring out and see what the hell they did.
Nick, didn't we adjust your square footage after the 2013 project?
I thought it was.
On the house.
I thought that was on that coulee area, there was some that
You
was
still,
adjusted.
that piece you gave me the 2 weeks or whatever, shows 73,000, yeah.
We'll have to talk to Ryan about that and see, because I thought that we had adjusted that.
And,
I remember
anyway.
something being done on that, yeah, so.
We did adjust the dimensions and the area on the primary lot with the house, but the coulee lot, Nick asked us to make adjustments that ran contrary to what the original plat indicated that it should be. And so we have to go with the dimensions that are filed in the recorder's office. So that's what those dimensions are based on.
And I talked to an engineer here, and the plat that they did when they bought that property through there is either the footage is wrong or their drawing is wrong. So who in the hell is right? And I mean, gonna have to go up here to the courthouse and see if we can find the original platting once. And that wasn't platted for 5 years after they bought it, or registered.
You know, I think generally though, if you question it, aren't you supposed to like hire a surveyor to, and I realize you don't want to do that, I mean, I'm just saying, but I think, you know, if there's a question, you know, a surveyor has to get involved, and, and basically the city or the government has to go by what's on the plat.
I talked to this engineer and he said, we got the measurements here. He says, it doesn't do a damn bit of good to plat. He says the measurements are all gonna be the same. He says, you got it on the map.
You know, maybe you and Ryan figure something out, I don't know. Is that,
If he has new information, bring it in. We'll take a look at it.
Well, I'll have to talk to him again, and he didn't have everything ready yet today, so I didn't go there today. I couldn't.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Larry, you skipped over me on number 6.
No, we already had you.
No, we already had you.
You like 6B.
Oh, B, sorry. I didn't see B right. Sorry.
Yeah, I know, I know you didn't do it on purpose, but this will take 30 seconds.
Okay.
Maybe a minute.
Oh, you're running now. Oh, boy.
One for each.
I want two.
Take two, there's enough. Maybe this'll help you, Nick. I'm lot 8 there. The long lot, close to the, all right. If you go to the other end of the block, there's 280 feet. If you add up 184 feet and 125 feet, there's 309 feet. 29 feet of my lot is in the middle of the street, Main Street, okay? So I tried everything. I hired an attorney. We dealt with the city attorney, and I won't go any farther than that. So finally, after a year, the attorney I had said, I think I can solve the problem, Ray. So we filed a quick claim deed for the north 155 feet of block 8. I still get a bill for those 29 feet that are in the street every year to pay taxes on them. I've been paying for 20 years, I'm not paying any more. So what happened is the surveyor measured from the middle of the street. So I just want you to know, when you see that I haven't paid my taxes, that's on the 29 feet that's in the street. So the quick claim deed has been filed. My lot is 155 feet long. Arden Wagner's is 125. You add them up, it's 280 feet. That's all there's there. Okay?
If Arden's is 125 feet, how can the one next to him that sticks down further be 110 feet? Maybe his is wrong. Well, look here. You see, you got 125 feet there, but that's 110 feet, and that sticks out a lot further past.
Well,
maybe
the map
his
is wrong.
Well, maybe his
That's
is
right.
wrong.
Maybe yours is wrong.
Because, that's okay, but half the maps around here are wrong. Because, no, listen, the lot next to me, the lot Larry, Mike Blazek's lot, was surveyed. And the marker is there, right where my marker is. So I own 155 feet, just so you know. The other 25's in the street.
I don't know, you know.
Well, that's the problem.
Have you hired a surveyor?
Huh?
Have you hired a surveyor?
It was surveyed, my neighbor's lot was surveyed, the pin is in the ground, and my lot is right there.
No, but according to this, they don't line up.
Well, that whole lot's surveyed, so you can go down
Well,
there.
I'm just saying, Ray, according to this, your lot doesn't line up with this.
Oh, I understand that,
No. So,
but that lot's wrong too. That's the problem we have in town.
well, I mean, I don't know. So, I'm just saying. Confirmation of assessments, so that's tabled. Petition for exclusion of properties from city limits, Holtberg, Bickert, Freeman, and Bickert.
Dick didn't know if he was going to,
I'd like to move to table that one.
Well, they don't have any paperwork.
Okay.
no, we have all of their paperwork for
Oh, we do?
petition for exclusion. But Dick is not here, I don't think, are any of the other representatives here?
Okay,
So
we'll
that-
table it, very good. New pump or water plant?
Yeah, this is coming from the water plant in Adam. There's a water pump that goes into the chlorine analyzer. He needs a new pump that's $2,100.
Didn't we just replace that not long ago?
That was a different one.
I suppose it's backup, huh?
Yeah, so he needs a new pump, so we need to be okay for
Well, I mean, if he needs it, he needs it, you know, that's kind of one of those things where.
So do we need to make a motion on that?
Sure.
Okay, I move that we, buy the pump for into the chlorine analyzer, for $2,100 approximately.
Second.
Any further discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
Aye. you know, something like that, I mean, you know, the water plant can't go there.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's a no-brainer, so. A recommendation from planning and zoning for variance request from Jamie and Virginia Weber. And that, you're familiar, they wanna, planning and zoning recommended a pass, they wanna build 4 feet closer to the alley. Rather than the 20-foot setback, there would be 16. That is a 30-foot alley. You know, the ordinance says 20, but I think, you know, they have dual driveways, so
And
we looked at it and we thought it'd be fine.
no issues from any neighbors or anything?
No,
Okay.
everybody was good. So I'll make a recommendation that we grant the variance request.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Aye.
Good.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, request from Adam Eckel, to purchase, okay,
That'll be.
right. That is, basically what he's asking for is, he's looking at buying a lot next to it. You know, it's kind of like the Sheldon, you know, he bought the one and then he bought the one that doesn't have pavement, you know?
Yep.
And then this here is, basically he wanted to know if the city would be willing to, you know, sell that for, you know, $24.99 like we did the other one. Because there is no pavement and stuff in front of it, you know, and, you know, before he continues to go, you know, everything, you know, just wants to make sure that it's available. Because he hasn't actually bought that other one.
They're here, I guess.
Oh, they're here? Oh, okay.
Yeah, both Adam and his wife Heidi are here.
Sure.
Is this the
Hi.
correct bathroom? Lot?
It's in the bathroom.
Is this
Boy,
the
you picked the
correct
wrong
lot
time.
they want?
And then you told everybody.
They possibly changed it, they weren't sure what I talked to this afternoon.
So there's possibly a change on the lot that they're requesting to purchase, I believe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is there?
We talked with planning and zoning about that too, instead of going with lot number 4 of block 6, that's in the island.
Yeah.
Adam and Heidi have now decided that they might want to look at purchasing lot 4 of block 7.
Do you have a map?
Yep, I do. It's right across the street from the lot they were looking at.
You have an hour night.
I do.
I'll give it right.
They were looking at this one, and now they're thinking of this one.
And
So you would buy this one and then
Yeah.
that one, and then this one, somebody already owns that.
Page 2 of 367. That's block 7.
Okay.
So they look at lot 3 and lot 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so originally they were looking at buying this one and that, now they're doing that. And this is paved up.
So they want to buy 3 and 4?
Services are up to here.
And then 3 from this to the gas.
Just like Sheldon.
Right, right, yeah,
So which
So if
one
it ever
is
got
from?
paved,
Lot 4, lot 7.
right, yeah.
So now you're looking at lot 4, right across the street.
Yeah.
Right.
And you mixed this idea totally, or?
Well, yeah, because
considering-
coming across the street puts us back into the Renaissance, and it just doesn't.
Over here does?
Yeah.
Oh, and this isn't?
No.
Oh, I see, okay.
Well, it
Right.
doesn't make any sense
Right.
not to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they want 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 from the Danny, if it's still for sale, it was last week, and then lot 4 from the city of Washburn.
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, it's kind of the same thing as before. I mean, you know, if we can get another lot on the tax rolls and then, you know, it's a no-brainer.
And you know, if you have both the lots, then to build over the property.
Usually maybe I always
Right.
leave those so. But then
I'll
you
move
saw
that
this.
you sell lot 4, block 7 for $24.99, does that sound right? To the Eccles?
Okay,
Second.
okay, any further discussion on that? Anything you want to add? Anything, or- You look like you want to say something.
Their offer to purchase has to be contingent on their ability to purchase the lot next door from Lagani. They
Right.
haven't started that yet.
Right.
And also on planning and zoning and city commission approval for a modular home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we're just approving the sale, then, and if you
Right,
don't
right.
actually go through with the sale, then,
Yeah.
it's just, Okay. Sorry to make you wait so long. Should I head first?
Yeah.
Did you guys want a cookie before we leave?
Yeah. Maybe just a little water too.
Water.
Hey, Hooter and Scooter, Daryl and Bill.
Thank you.
Got this little breakdown of what our plans or intentions are here, so I'll kind of summarize it a little bit. So we're requesting 3 dates for a special use permit so we can run go-karts on that property at 1295 Northgate Road. October 1 and 2, we'd like to run them from the hours of noon to 6. And those 2 dates, October 1 and 2, would be pay at the gate, so to speak, that'd be open to the public for our benefit to do business with the public, I guess. That October 15th, and it says or 16th, we haven't got it clarified. We have a private party that wants to rent the use of that. And that would be a situation where they would, group, it's basically a birthday party for somebody's kids. And it'd be a closed event, no walk-ins, it'd be just relatively speaking, a small event. We want to have those 3 dates, if we could, please. We're not involved with any food, any alcohol. Everything there is on their own. We're just having people come through the gate, so to speak, and take part in that. We're trying to limit the hours, kind of keep that respectful for everybody. We have bathroom situation addressed, I feel. Those are the 3 dates we'd like to have you guys consider for us, please.
And the special use permit would just be for just those 3 days, and this wouldn't be a precedent as far as?
Those are the 3 days we'd like to have. I mean, I'll tell you, looking forward to our business plan. Again, this is a business where we're taking this part of the business on the road. And we're hoping next year, and this groundwork is being laid, that we should have this on the road fairly often next year. With that being said, I mean, we might want to have 2 or 3, or how many next year, I don't know. I do want to move some Clark days when there's a lot of activity in town. But these are some, and again, like I said, one of these is a private party. That could come up on occasion. The other one, we're just going to see what the.
But on each and every one of those occasions, you would still come in front of?
Yeah, correct. Yes, that's correct.
Did you check with your neighbors up there at all, or?
I think we have a few here.
Yep, and I'm not understanding why this would be any different by just having on some days. I thought the decision of the city, or the lawyer for the city, was that the amusements weren't allowed at that. If it's a special event at Lewis and Clark Days, I don't have an objection to that. That's a one-time special event thing. I feel like if you're letting them do it for 1 or 2 days, open to the public, then you are setting a precedent of opening that as an amusement. It's being paid for use as an amusement. I don't see that any different of them than doing it as a business that's open all the time. And so I would have an objection to that, and so would my husband.
We had stopped and talked with Mr. Lindell on this, and we were hoping he would be here. He says no reason why it can't be done.
This is our first request to do this in front of the city commission, and I understand there's a paper, an article written in the paper stating an opinion about this, but this is our first formal request. We have had nothing laid out by the attorney that this is impractical. We're trying to interpret this ordinance. Maybe it's too in-depth for us, and maybe it does fall on his shoulders to do that, but this is our first formal request to do this.
Just a question, special use permit, is that different from a conditional use permit? Or are these one
Well,
and the
conditional
same?
use is something that, you get for the life of the business, so to speak. This is a special use. This would be kind of, if I'm correct, This would be kind of like the captain's cabin having a band outside, you know.
That's exactly how Dave put it also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I consider a special use.
Because Lindell did speak on the conditional use parameters, but this is not a conditional, that's what we're talking about.
Right, he basically said, yeah, the conditional use would apply.
Gotcha.
The special
Just wanna clarify.
licenses that they use for alcohol that, you know, postings get, there's a fee for those special use.
So there would be a fee for this?
That's up to you guys. I was just, you guys, someone had mentioned that it was much as the special event permit that Ron Posting gets, but that is more of, for his liquor license that is involved with that special event. But he pays a fee for that.
What's the fee for that? I didn't know there was a fee for that.
Oh, no.
I think it's
it's
$10.
How much?
Is it like $10?
No, it's 100 for 2 days and either 25 or 50 for 1 day.
Really?
Is there any other neighbors that have anything?
Don stopped by last week, and he and I visited for an hour and a half. And our concerns are, I mean, we're not dead shut off against the idea of it, but our concerns are that it's kind of a foot in the door situation where if it becomes acceptable one time, it's gonna become acceptable for it to be more and more common. And I asked him for a specific number that he thought would be okay for a number of times, say per year, you know, the number of events. Our initial intent in our discussions were that, you know, maybe whatever events they were gonna have were gonna kind of coincide with other events happening around the cities, like Lewis and Clark Days, or there's a street dance or whatever odd event. We're okay, you know, with there being a certain amount. I think the number Don gave me was 6 times a year, you know, assuming that you're not gonna do it in the winter months or in the unreasonably cold months. Like I said, we're not.
Why would that be though? Just a question. The cold month, or what, you know, like here this fall.
I was just assuming they wouldn't run when there's snow on the ground.
Well, I just, you know, because the concern earlier this summer was you guys are in your backyards with your families and the noises. Well, in the fall time, you're probably less likely to be back there because of the cooler temperature.
We wouldn't be opposed to it. I was just assuming that they wouldn't do it in the cold weather.
Okay,
Right, I just, yeah.
Yeah. I think we'd be really okay with it if there was some way to come to a resolution that, okay, this is the maximum number of times you guys have in a given time period. And just have, you know, considerably more communication with the neighbors. I don't think I've been contacted. I don't know of anyone else who has, but it would be appreciated because there's kind of a sentiment that you guys keep trying to go through these back channels and back doors, and the people that it affects are left unaware of it. So.
Well, I appreciate that consideration. And again, you know, this is our first formal request here. Everything else was really informational meetings that we talked about, other than the zoning, you know, meeting. But and that's what we would like to know. We'd like to know what capacities that we'd be willing to work with each other on. You know, and two, at the last commission meeting where it was an informational meeting that we didn't bring up. A suggestion from the commissioners was, you know, we guys should run this and just see if it's intolerable. You gotta let us know.
Yeah, see, that's what I was gonna say too, is, you know, maybe try it and just see how bad it is.
One thing about it is, you know, I think we need to have more communication, just because, let's say there's a date that you want, but they're going to have a birthday party or a graduation thing in the backyard, and then there's a conflict, then there's gonna cause all kinds of problems. So if you guys could communicate with the neighbors and work out kind of that schedule like they said, you know, if there's 6 or 5 or 3 or whatever it might be, then I think things would be a lot smoother. Plus, is that fence going to be?
We're not gonna do it for this. And you know, respect this idea. We could absolutely do it for next year, but it would be a poor business decision for us to do it when, after that $30,000 fence is put up, the city says, yeah, no more of this.
So are you, as a commission, are you going to make this a permitted use within the city? Because currently it's not a permitted use in this particular area or under this zone.
No, I don't think so.
No,
Just,
no.
we're talking
Just
about the
being in a
special use.
permit is all we're talking
For
about.
these particular dates.
Well, I was just curious, because as we were moving into installing
Oh,
a
that's
sound
true.
barrier
Yes, that's
fence,
true.
then it moves into a permanent
That's a good-
structure.
That was
and
stuff we
permanent
talked about.
use.
That's a good
Those
point.
proposals, and honestly, we're not even gonna consider that until we know that this is even a possibility.
Because it's not a permitted use
Absolutely
within
not.
this
Right.
area.
That's a good point, Joe.
I know that when we had talked to Mr. Lindell, he said that ruling that what's in the books can be changed. Because when those were wrote, it was many, many years ago, and that no one ever thought of.
The ordinance you're talking about.
Correct.
But I will say though, is trying to get those 6 dates, talking about getting that ordinance change won't help the neighbors be on your side.
Well, I understand that. If we could come to so many
Yeah.
days a year, I'm thinking possibly 6 may be too many. I'm
Do you guys
looking at.
feel like between, like you two could get with all you guys up there, the neighbors, from now until the next meeting, come up with 6 dates for next year that you plan on doing this go-karts?
I don't know if we would be able to tie them down to specific dates, because they might have a random event that comes up that they want to book on a date that wasn't specified. You know, we're okay with that, just being involved in the whole process and letting us know.
I mean, let's just get a plan.
Yep.
You two sit down with all you guys that have this conflict, okay? And set up 6 dates. Let's just throw 6 dates out there.
Well, I don't know if we need to do
And-
6 dates, just because.
Well, just hear me out.
That's up.
And you can go in and you can look at, you guys are saying you're traveling, you're gonna look at Beulah, you're gonna look at Hazen, you're gonna look at Underwood, Wilton, all these other places, you all gonna,
State fair already.
yeah, so I mean, you know where all them dates are. And you all know what your lives are like, you're busy, whatever your schedule is. Just try to guess or estimate.
What's gonna
What
be
you
hard
think.
about that is, because right now, we don't know. We won't know in the next month or until after the fair convention is done for the county fairs and state fairs. If it would be a little open to where by the first of the year we'd be able to, but not by the end of the month or by the next meeting, that would be real hard. Now, if we could set how many dates, certainly things could be changed if they had something going on. We absolutely try to change what we needed to do. But if it was a birthday party, we'd invite them over from their backyard to go go-kart.
And it's even like this request, honestly, one of these is a private party deal, and if we were to get a yes from you, we're gonna give them the bid, the price proposal, and they may say no, so I mean, we don't know where we stand. We have to ask permission before we can offer it.
We've had 3 calls already for birthday parties there already, 2 for bachelor parties. We've already thrown, without even asking here, we've thrown away $17,000.
Bachelor party,
Business
yeah.
revenue. Huh?
Bachelor party could be a bad deal.
What?
Well, if they're drinking, having go-karts, yeah, it could be a bad deal.
There ain't no booze on the land.
It's not a permitted use in that area,
What?
the go-karts.
You know,
It's not a permitted use yet.
I understand that.
I was just clarifying.
Or if they come for a special request for a function, though, we could approve that.
Can
But
you get
you
a special use for a non-permitted use?
Yeah.
So a beer garden on the street is a non-permitted use, isn't
But if you're
it?
scheduling
Be the
out
same thing.
six dates for next year, then that's a plan.
Well, that's what I'm
Goes
saying, they gotta
outside.
get with them and agree with something, and we can go from there and try something out, is what I'm getting at. This ain't set in stone, like this is gonna be these 6 dates every year. I'm just saying, let's just work together, try it, see what you folks think. I mean, it's just a suggestion, I guess, I don't know.
My concern is that then sets precedent. If we say, okay, it's allowed on these days, then the city's saying,
You've done it before.
you've done it before, now we have to allow that use on that property. And that's my concern. And I will say, they did run them just like training some guys that there, and that wasn't an issue for us, but it is extremely loud, and unfortunately, there are metal buildings and it echoes all into, not only outside, but it's very loud in our house as well. So, well, we don't have an objection if there's a few events a year, especially our thought was tied in with things like Boobs and Clark Days, things like that, when you know, like, the town's gonna be loud anyways. You're gonna have the dance at the Captain, you're gonna have things downtown. We don't have an issue with that, but we do have an issue when it starts to be, okay, now we wanna have this party, now we wanna have this, because I feel that that's letting a non-permitted use happen there. And obviously, the more business they're gonna get, the more they're gonna wanna do the go-kart, and then how do we come up with that? That's a big concern for us. Or for our family personally. And we have not talked to our neighbors, and our neighbors aren't aware of this at this point, so they cannot speak for any of them.
Like I said, I guess what I'd like to see is, at least let them try it once. And I mean, if the neighbors hate it, then we'll just say, I'm sorry, that's, we won't do it again.
Can I ask that, and we'll pay for the decibel counts, we'll go up and down the street, have a private, nothing to do with us, take samplings of the
Well, I don't think
noise.
we're so much worried about the numbers, we're worried about what they think. The numbers might be perfect, but if they think
Yeah.
it's too loud, it's too loud.
The numbers are only a statutory concern.
Well, when we were in here before, it was compared to a train.
Not by us.
No, I realize that.
No, but we were talking about a safety concern of the noise is what our concern was, but it also is, the noise is excessive.
Would you, who's affected here, would you be willing, or would you, what do you think about like a one-time, say like the 1st and 2nd of October, that'd be the only one?
No, I think it'd be a great test run.
I mean, it'd be a test run and.
Exactly. Because we honestly don't know what it's gonna be like.
Right.
We're hesitant to sign up and say, yeah, sure, go ahead and do that, because we have no idea what it's gonna
And
be.
I agree, I think there needs to be a test run, and then everybody knows, and then, and then if it's like, okay, this is not working, then we don't do it again. We just say, no, I'm sorry, the neighbors.
Is there anybody else from the neighborhood that have anything?
I don't think there's anyone else.
I don't- yeah, I don't-
Who's here.
I'm not that close.
That big close, okay.
So I don't know, would you guys be fine with that, just say for the 1st and 2nd?
Can we just do one day? Does that be?
Pretty much isn't worth setting up just for one.
Days out of those, Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
And if one day is bad weather, especially this time of year, then you have an alternate day.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I know I talked to the manager of the motel over there, and she's gonna be writing up a letter on, they think it'd be a great idea for their people. And I was a little concerned about their people not being able to sleep since it's a motel. That's why I went and talked to her on that. There'd be people that would be sleeping
What do you
during the
think? I mean,
day.
if you two think it would be okay, then
I'm,
we'll give, like a
as long as
one-time
it's
use
just a-
permit for the 1st and 2nd.
just a test run, initial test run, I'm okay with it for 2 days. Let's get it done, let's get out of it.
I mean, I'm really concerned with having it 1 or 2 days and setting a precedent, but I don't think at this point we can say
Well,
no.
I mean,
think
we have
to
all
give
this on
everyone a
tape,
chance, so-
and
Yes,
Yeah.
this
and
isn't
I
a
think we've already
precedent.
said that, if you guys are totally against it.
For any extra,
then we
they
won't
would
do
have
it
to come
again.
in,
So, I
come
mean,
back each time and ask.
Right. And it will be an agenda item, full disclosure.
Yes.
And
Folks
it's just
wanna
the
come
1st
in
and
and
the
talk
2nd,
about it.
we're not doing anything, no birthday parties, passes, it would just be the 1st and 2nd.
That's what that's what I'm
So-
going to recommend. Yes,
They are requesting that additional weekend. Should we plan after the 1st and 2nd? I would imagine you would have a meeting shortly after.
the
Should
next
we,
meeting is on the 10th.
should we plan so that if we are okay with it, they are able to have that 2nd? As something for them, us saying, okay, you've come and ask for it if we are okay with it. That way they're not missing out that weekend.
Well,
If-
that's actually a lot of rework, I think. You know, they did come with a special request. It was on the agenda. Folks had a chance to come up and talk about it. Obviously, it would have been nice if you had gone to the neighbors and vetted this first, but I would make a motion that we allow the first, second, and one of the other dates and just be done with it. Then we don't have to come back and forth.
Well,
That was a proposal.
what we can't do is, we have to let these people know.
Exactly, so there's a plan.
And that's what he
So-
said.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
It won't set a precedent. We'll look at it case by case going forward.
We'll always come in for a special permit.
Sure.
We never really expected not to.
And just so you realize that, if the neighbor's unhappy with you, probably won't get another one. Just so you know that, so.
So what was the motion again? You made a motion, what was it?
I actually didn't. I kind of said I was going to. I make
Well, I
a
thought you
motion.
did.
Well, I didn't mean, I said, we'll make a motion. I make a motion to grant the special use permit for go-kart functions on the 1st and 2nd, and then either October 15th and 16th.
Or the 16th,
Yeah.
From 12 to 6.
Yeah, from noon to 6 p.m. on those dates.
Is the 15th or 16th, is that also noon to 6? I don't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it
I'll
would just be
second that,
one of
Joe.
those days?
One of those
covered?
days, yeah,
Three
depends
total.
on what the client wants, yeah. Yep.
Okay, you guys are good with that?
And
Did you
depends on
have-
what the weather's
did you
gonna
have
be
a
like.
sheet?
we told
I-
you.
Sure.
I mean, I'd like to see how the first and second go, but I also understand that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, we appreciate the
I'll second
opportunity.
Joe.
okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this?
My only question
Yes.
is, who is gonna be talking to other neighbors so they know what's going on about this?
We will go over there.
Please do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Should the city also give them a call?
I don't think the city normally does, do they?
We've never had this situation before.
Well, I think it should be up to these two gentlemen to go and.
By
and-
the week, how about by Monday?
And please make sure you visit all of them.
And if you would get back to me on that 3rd date,
Yes.
and let me know.
Okay, so Keith,
Yes.
Aye.
yes. Okay, hopefully it'll go well.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And thank you guys for at least getting the chance.
You bet, thank you, guys.
I
think you'll like it.
Liability insurance for the city to include Rita and the park board.
I'm just in the process of redoing our insurance for the city, and both the Waida and the park board are covered under the city's insurance policy.
They have been for a while,
Mhm.
okay?
And so they are covered, as additional covered parties, governance liability, so, and professional liability. So it's premises and operations, governance liability, as well as professional liability.
So it's the same as always had.
You just need approval.
I just need approval.
I move that we approve the liability insurance for Waida and the Washburn Park Board.
Second. Discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Aye. We'll table you till next month.
Make it quick.
Come on.
Make it quick.
Okay, you guys have seen what's been going on around town, I presume. We finally started paving here this last week. So the streets north of Main, they have either one or both lifts of asphalt on them. We're really close on this part of Main, getting that done. And we're getting the baseboard prep done on the streets south of Main.
Looks like it's drying out a little bit.
Yeah, actually, almost too much. So we actually were watering roads yesterday, or through the weekend and today. We had to water a road before we paved it, 'cause it was just getting really dry.
Sure.
So, all the users on the new water mains and services have been connected, the temporary water is removed. Any other questions you guys have for the current project?
What, have they done that relining of the sewer from Maine down
They
to
have not
Second
done that
Avenue?
yet.
When's that gonna be done?
I thought that was gonna be done already last week, but, I have a progress meeting tomorrow with Wagner, so I'll be asking that question.
Okay.
That's been pushed back, but that's HydroClean. And the one thing that we had brought up to Dave was, the city attorney was, their waiver for that, offset in the pipe. So that's,
Underneath the.
they're not holding out on doing the work for that waiver, but that's something that we need to get resolved as well.
What's this offset?
Dave gave you, did you get his response that I sent to you?
He said that he agreed with us on that.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
basically we had that underneath the, I don't know who the homeowner is, but right off of Main Street on Fifth Avenue. They have there's an offset in a sewer main right underneath their garage. The reason we're lining that sewer is because it goes under two people's homes.
Right,
So we're gonna
exactly.
dig them up. So, that offset in the pipe, HydroClean identified when they inspected and cleaned it, and they want a waiver of liability on that piece.
Now, when you say an offset, you're talking like this? Or
I
you're
got
talking like
I got a picture of it, and I don't know if did you see that, Keith? That picture of that offset on the sewer main? It's instead of being the joints being lined up exactly, they're off just a little bit. Now, HydroClean says they can do that. However, they want a waiver of liability. Our objection to them was, we're not going to give you a waiver of liability on the entire line sewer. That
Right,
doesn't
just
make
that
sense.
one spot.
That one spot. If we can go ahead and do it, then yeah, because we're not going to not let them. We're not going to cancel the whole thing.
Let me ask you this, is the offset advantage to flow, or is it the other way around? Or is it sideways?
I couldn't tell you that. I'd have to look at the video footage.
Because that'd be good to know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And the only way you're gonna fix that is if you
Pick it up.
move his garage and dig it up. So, but that's something I can most certainly look into, and I will be asking on HydroClean's schedule,
Why don't
tomorrow.
you get a hold of me when you find that out?
Sure.
Okay.
And the other thing is the seal coat project. They want to be in town on Wednesday.
Okay.
So they got one project they're trying to finish up in Beach, North Dakota, and they're going to be heading out this way. They'll be here Wednesday morning. The VP of the company told me, and they're hopefully going to be starting that afternoon as soon as we, temperatures got to warm up a little bit at this
Right.
point in the year for us to
Right.
to do that work. So that will be hopefully that will only take them. It shouldn't take them more than 2 days if they have good weather.
Right,
So,
yeah.
as long as they have good weather, we'll get
We're
that seal
supposed to have
coat job
good weather,
done.
so, yeah.
So
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question, so.
yeah, seal coating. Anything else on on this project, the street and utility project?
Anything? No.
Are you doing sidewalks?
I was gonna bring up the sidewalks next, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
Just the communications on your construction meetings, those are pretty nice. They're very
Yeah.
informative, so
And,
thanks for that. There's a lot of work that goes into all this, and need to get some kudos for what's going right. It's looking really good out there.
And I'll continue to send my meeting minutes. Some of them have been timely. This last week's hasn't been. It was a very short meeting. I think it was just Joan and I and one person from Wagner. But I'll send that out tomorrow, and we have the other progress meeting. So I'll try to get those meeting minutes out to you guys as soon as I can. But it's just what we talk about, and if it gives you guys a chance, you can email me back, reply to those if you want to. If you want me to be bringing stuff up to them specifically in my progress meetings, because I'll do that.
Yeah,
I've
I know
already
the
started-
one that, we had some pop tires, nails in the forms,
Yeah.
that was brought up immediately, and
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything after that, so it's
Yeah.
working, so thanks.
Absolutely. Try to stay on them as best we can, so, but for the other thing that we got here, guys, is the, change order request. It's not a change order request, it's basically the sidewalk project that we've talked about the last couple weeks, I think, or maybe months, I don't know anymore.
Years.
But we had
Couple years.
We had the bids come in. We bid it out this year again, and it came in high. I think Knife River was our only bidder, and we decided not to go with that.
That was what, 90,000?
It was $93,000, for Knife River to do that work.
God.
We provided an estimate to you guys, and I don't know if you saw it, but our estimate on what we thought it should cost, it was right around $66,000. And then Wagner, we approached them for a bid to do this extra work while they're doing the street job, and they came out with a bid of $59,515. So I guess the main point here is I wanted to bring up what Wagner came back with here for a price for this extra work on the sidewalk project. And if you guys wanted to go through and say, yeah, let's do this work, because if we do want to do it, we want to know about it so we can get it done this year, because
That was 59?
$59,515.
And I think, what, 30,000 of that will come from the sidewalk fund?
I thought it was 40.
40, okay.
It was a 50-50 match.
I think we've been waiting for 2 years,
Yeah.
so.
I don't know what it was last year, if it was more or less, but you know, we definitely tried to exhaust as many options. We had way many more contractors that had actually looked at bidding this, but we only got one, unfortunately, so.
That surprises me, we didn't have more.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the sidewalk bid.
Question, please.
Can we do the motion and the second, and then we'll have all kinds of discussion? To approve the sidewalk bid? So let's second that. Okay.
No discussion.
Sorry.
Go home.
My question is, there are many areas around town that have no sidewalk. How are you choosing which areas to focus on?
Well, right now, we're trying to improve the areas that are somewhat dangerous and that are really bad shape. And we're just trying to do a little bit of that every year or every 2 years, depending on how long, trying to improve the sidewalks. And I know there's some places on the way to school that we've actually added sidewalks to. So there's only so much we can do, but we're trying to do a little bit every year at least. So, if that answers your question.
Can I take my sidewalk out and just make it like everyone else's down to the curb?
No. Well, where do you live?
What?
Main Street.
Main Street.
No,
Why?
because it's already there.
Yeah.
But weren't some of the ones that were put in down here not to the curb and they're now to the curb? Ones that were put in further down when they did the street project last year. Some weren't even there weren't even sidewalks.
Well, I think the main concern with sidewalks is, to provide a safe place for people to walk, like kids and stuff, because a lot of kids go down
Well-
Main Street that way, they go to the ballpark,
But there
Well, that's
are
the
places
idea.
all over town that there are no
understand that.
sidewalks.
I understand that.
You walk in holes in somebody's lawn, that's not very safe. Why aren't you making them put in sidewalks?
Well, we are putting in sidewalks where we see that the sidewalks deteriorate and where it's dangerous. You look all the way down Main, we've done that. Up towards the school, new sidewalks have been put in. There's gonna be, not just your area, there's several areas in town that are getting new sidewalks. Right now, you see your area because it's, right in front of your house. But there are several areas that are.
Okay, I have a question about my sidewalk. And the reason I'm asking this is because they can go ahead and fix that sidewalk. And if they don't do something about the level of the street itself, from the lawn to my wall,
Yep.
it's just gonna flood in again this winter and I'm gonna have the
I
same
think-
problem every year.
I think with your situation, you'll need to talk to the engineer and he'll get it figured out, right?
I'm assuming that you guys will look into that type of problem.
Where do you live at, ma'am?
I'm on Main. I'm on
You wanna
the
take a
north
look
end
at
of
that?
Main.
The north end of Maine.
Yeah, and the thing of it is because of the way the grass is and the sidewalk is, you got the sidewalk lower than the grass. And so when the snow builds up in the winter and then it starts melting in the spring, it builds these big puddles, which is what destroyed the sidewalk to begin
so
with.
it's lower than the rest of the
Yeah,
area.
it's lower.
Yeah, it can't
It's
drain.
not gonna do
Okay.
any good to do that if
You
you
want
don't
to give
do
him
it
your
right.
house number so he knows where?
408.
408 North Main?
No,
I got one
well,
other
408
thing.
Main.
Right now, I live on 4th Street. Our 4th Street runs right by me, which is dirt. There's 100-foot long washout that's 9 inches deep in places. And this is the 3rd time this has happened this summer. City comes in, pushes some gravel around and calls it good.
Oh, okay, you know, I appreciate that, but we're actually discussing the sidewalk bid right now.
Well,
So-
let's do this bid and then we'll get back to that.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know, I think this is kind of high, but I don't know.
Well-
I mean, how many feet are we looking at here? Do you know?
On their estimates, it is for, let's see here, removal 250 square feet of concrete driveway sidewalk and actually 2,500 square feet of concrete sidewalk.
See me?
Driveway sidewalk is just 6-inch concrete.
I put a driveway in, this is good compared to what I paid for my driveway, for the
And-
amount of area.
And the, but it's for basically removal and replacement of 2,500 square feet of sidewalk. There's other things with like curb and restoration work.
So what does that come out to, about how much per, say, foot? You know, average, like 60,000 divided by 2,500?
60,000 divided by 2,500.
Is it like $7 a linear foot or something similar?
That would be like 20-something bucks.
Yeah, about
That's $24. $24 a foot.
yeah, $24. Yeah,
Oh, on
that's what I got.
average, I suppose. with
That's on
everything,
average.
Yeah. All I know is it was much lower than the Knife River.
Well, Knife River was $93,000, and they're the only bidders on
Yeah.
it. Only bid,
So
put
that's
this out
what
for
we can
bids.
compare it to, like, seems like a pretty,
So
And I don't know what
basically-
last year was. If you know what prices we got in last year's. But I know we-
That was last year, wasn't that 60
That
or
was
something like that
67.
too?
Yeah, it was
like
up there,
16, we
yeah.
said was outrageous. So basically, the people would be paying $12, we'd be paying $12.
And if if it ends up being more square footage than that, then it's going to be less, obviously. And if it's going to be more, or
Vice versa.
it's going to go up and down
It's been a
based
long
on.
night.
That's just
So basically, we have everybody signed up for this, correct? I mean, as from last year, and,
Yep.
all right, any further discussion? Besides, you wanna go home? What, you got your coat on, Craig, wanna go home?
Had it on all night.
Forgive me.
I'm just gonna say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
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 All right,
Okay. I'm
And
out.
do you have something with,
okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
before,
I'm sorry I jumped the gun.
You combine.
4th Street just
Yeah, I'll
needs
come by
attention.
tomorrow.
I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
when it washes out 3 times in the summer,
Okay.
there needs to be something done that's, you know.
Hi, Eric.
Larry,
Then I'll see you tomorrow.
that alley.
Yeah,
is that going up?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
no, I know
No,
it is, yeah.
no, it's not the Third Street, no, it's Third, it's like, it's more Third Avenue.
Behind your,
Yeah, that, it's a.
Alley
Yeah,
behind
4th
your-
Street is,
oh, and behind your house.
no, 4th Street runs along from Main up the hill to the
Oh,
alley.
that's what you're talking about.
Streets
Yeah.
run north and south. It's-
Okay,
It's
okay,
4th Street.
okay.
But then the other people want the rest, the Third Avenue
Okay.
taken care of too, that alley back in there.
Oh, the alley, so it needs blading.
Correct.
One thing we haven't played,
We can actually get the blade out of the bay right now, so
Oh, that's
it's,
kinda
it's
true.
going to be a couple
Oh, yeah.
days,
Now we
if
got
not a
that.
couple
No,
weeks,
we
because
got
we
that.
can't get the blade out.
And the status of our cement crew
Yeah,
is.
let's get rolling before my
All right,
kid is up.
okay, we will try and
Or
get
for the
that
morning.
blade as soon as we can. So, can you write a note to Adam and get that done as soon as you can?
I talked to him today, he said he can't get the blade out,
Okay,
so as
but
soon
he
as
knows
he
he
can.
can get the blade out.
Yep, as soon as he can
Okay.
access the equipment.
Anything else for Eric?
I don't,
Big hole.
When are they gonna chip seal?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Where were you?
Well, you can't, I wasn't sure what he said, but
Oh,
if, I wanna know because I don't have a way to get out.
we're not chip sealing yours.
What?
Yeah,
Maine?
Yeah, there. Main
Oh,
Street.
Maine? Oh, we are? Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So they
Oh,
should
my
tell,
bad.
there's people down there that can't get out of their garage, and the next thing we look, we got,
Okay, but we're gonna, we
Tar
want to get done,
shot.
so portfolios.
Nothing.
And they shouldn't be starting until it gets a little bit later in the day.
Quick update,
So-
airport portfolio, they gave, the contractor a deadline of October 14th to find a pavement mix that will meet spec. That's a quick
What,
update.
airport?
Yeah, for airport.
Okay,
They're pouring some runway.
oh, okay.
Anyway, that's just a quick update that Mark had given me, and then the Memorial Hall floor has been refinished.
Oh, it looks good.
It looks gorgeous, but it's a shame to cover it.
Yeah, yeah, so we're working on the stipulations of when to cover it versus the when to leave it off, and so there's some details we have to work out, but that'll be in the rental agreements. That's it.
I don't keep an
I
eye
like one
on
thing.
the trucks and then find out when they're gonna shoot them.
Okay, first of all, I don't think you can legally say that all I can have is emails, but that being put aside, for now, they need to be sent to my email, not to some thing that somebody else made up, so.
Okay, so send them to his.
Okay.
Okay. Joan, what do you have?
Nothing.
Bills. Everybody get a chance to look at the
Yes.
bills. Motion to pay bills.
Kit, you had nothing?
Second. Were you asking for a
No, I
motion?
said, do we have a motion to pay bills?
I make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the bills? Jude?
Aye.
Please.
Aye.
Thanks. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Oh, good.